Tradoon. 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 Tradoon.
If you're feeling a bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
Happy New Year everyone. Make the best of it. Cybot 30 Love Signed Kevin Dance Subgroup Summits.
have no idea to this day what that lady was singing about. The truth is, I don't want to know. I tell you, that voice soared. It was like some kind of pink dinosaur walked into a drab little cage and used its powerful tail to knock those walls away. And for the briefest of moments, every last man at Shawshank was a pink little dinosaur too.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Happy New Year's. And, goofy son of a... Welcome back. Welcome to 2024. It's gonna be a fun stream today. Thank you, Opalite Isopod, for the follow, by the way. Welcome to the channel. Holy cow. For you and anybody else who might be new here, please allow me to introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. You probably know already that a paleontologist is a fossil scientist. I work on dinosaur fossils in particular, hence dinosaur paleontologist. So I study dinosaurs, I publish on them in the scientific literature, I talk about dinosaurs here live on stream 5 days a week, and during the summers I dig up dinosaurs. I was actually streaming that this past summer in Utah and Wyoming. We dug up at least 3 new species of dinosaur this summer. Hopefully they'll be published within a few years. But today on stream we're going to be talking about some brand new dinosaurs from 2023. We're actually going to be counting down, or rather ranking, the top 23 dinosaurs of the year 2023, according to me. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to make a tier list, and shoot, this will be a nice little catch-up for the past year, and yeah, hopefully you'll learn a thing or two about the current state of dinosaur science during today's broadcast. So, yeah, I'm glad you're here. Let me scroll through chat real quick, and then we'll do probably a quick game of Metazua. Maybe we'll talk about New Year's resolutions. Actually, if any of you would like to share your New Year's resolutions, now is the perfect time to do it. Sometimes having a little bit of accountability there by, like, announcing something in public, it's just a little bit of boost that you need for actually getting that stuff done. So we'll see if that's true, I suppose. Feel free to share your resolutions in the chat, and then I'll share mine with you in a little bit. We'll see which ones I actually accomplished from last year. Kodali 2010 was here before we even started today. How are you doing, Kodali? Welcome. And Matt M33, hello to you. The Lenina, I hope you had a wonderful New Year's. I hope you're well rested right now. It's good to see you. Thank you for everything you do, Lenina. Smorphosaurus, what's shaking with you, Smorf? Hello. Scrolling. Arle, how are you doing, Arle? Welcome. Happy New Year's. Hope you've had a good New Year so far. Steely Dan, dinosaurs are very nice. Oh, very good. Very nice and very good. Steely Dan, I would agree. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Anya98, how are you doing? Welcome back. It's good to see you here. Dr. Irrefutable, I'm glad you could make it also. Nerdy Noodle, Transit Biker, Gita Aloha, Golganek, and Little Pink Pony. How are you doing? Welcome. It's good to see you here. Yeah. Do you think avian dinosaurs stood on one foot like modern birds? You mean non-avian dinosaurs, Little Pink Pony? Avian dinosaurs are birds. Yeah. Some of them may have, I suppose, but on average, your non-avian dinosaur would be per volume heavier than an avian dinosaur, heavier than a bird. And so, yeah, some of them may have stood on one leg for a while. I don't know. We don't really have any footprint evidence of this. I'm not sure how you'd go about testing that idea. I guess one of the best ways would be to find fossil footprints. Dinosaurs standing on one leg, but I don't know how well you could preserve that in a trackway, actually. That's a tough one. They may have. Anyway, Golganek, I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you, Golganek. And Science Streams, Happy New Year to you too. I'm so glad you're here. I hope your 2024 has been good so far as well. Legion 54, thank you for those 100 bits earlier. I really appreciate that, and Happy New Year's to you also. All right, Ensign Rick and Chris TS.
Utah Raptors.
And Pimpcat.
The most dangerous dinosaur around.
Hope everyone
you
had
for
a
your-
great Christmas and New Year. Paleo Science Shake, Paleo Science Shake, Paleo
Shoot, you
Science
too,
Shake.
Ironheart. Thank you. For those 42 months of support. Holy cow. That is extraordinary, and I really appreciate it. Holy cow, Ironheart. That's a long time. 42 months. That is like... It's almost a whole year, isn't it? Appreciate you, Ironheart. I appreciate you. Seafrog. Welcome back, Seafrog. I feel like it's been a while. How are things? Dendra... I almost said Patrol. Dendra Partol. Dendra, welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Phoenix, thank you for the warm wishes. Glad you could be here too, Phoenix the archaeologist. Hello, hello. Rylesy, hi to you too. Charlie's Dragon, I hope you're doing well. SV Harkin, hello, hello. And Slowvoid, Feliz Año Nuevo a ti también. Muchas gracias. Slovid. Lo siento, Slovid. Bienvenidos a Paleontologizing. Sandwich Nom Nom, how are you doing? Howdy, howdy. And I hope you all enjoyed the cold open video with that little musical number. Pimpcat says no safari shirt. I don't know if I would call the shirts that I normally wear safari shirts, but a different shirt today. Yeah, kind of a newer shirt, Pimpcat. This one's not military surplus. It's still nice. Sculpin, happy new beer to you too. Howdy, howdy, Sculpin. Caravan, happy new year to you also. And Raven's Quarters says, morning everyone and Danny, and all the best for 2024. Thank you, Raven's Quarters. I appreciate that. It's good to have you here. I hope your 2024 is off to a good start, and I hope it continues to go on. Static Life Photo, hello, hello to you. Ali Jew, happy new year to you also. And Nerual says, happy new year all. May 2024 bring peace, justice, and security to your new empire. Wait a minute, yeah. Thank you, Nerual. Appreciate you. And Sweetie Pie, do you want to come up here? Want to come say hello? Psst, 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 psst. She's staring at the desk. Let's see if she comes up here. And let's see. Trooper 2112, hello to you. And yep, we've got cat activity here. There we go. Hello, Sweetie Pie. Hello, hello. How are you doing? How are you doing, sweetie? We need to get some new lights and maybe another camera rigged up here so people can see a little bit better, huh? Yeah. Well, it's good to see you. It's good to see you, Sweetie Pie. Yeah. The cat treats are on the wish list. They were, Lenina, but they are now gone, actually. Maybe, let me see if I can put some more on there. Let's see. Oh, look at you, Sweetie Pie. Look at you. Oh, I wish everybody could see your beautiful eyes right now. Yeah. Alright, there we go. Oh, I know she likes these ones. Let's add these to the wish list. Excellent. Lovely. How would you like that, sweetie, if somebody got you some treats? Yeah? Would you like that? Yeah. Anyway, let's see who else is here right now. We've got Lee. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Cast the Dreamer says Cat Butt Cam. Yes, indeed. Yeah. And Anakin Gabriel, cat stream now. I know, right? Yeah. Come for the dinosaurs, stay for the cat, says Simeon. And that has been how things have been going lately. At least for the past few minutes. And Legion 54 says, what a pretty cat. I know, right? Yeah. And the cat's name is Sweetie Pie. Yeah. 2 words, Lydia. Sweetie Pie. Oh. And if we get lucky, maybe we'll even see Mini Pie on today's stream as well. All the cats have pie-related names here. These are my landlords, by the way. They own the house. And, yeah. Are you enjoying yourself, Sweetie Pie? I'm sorry I don't have any more treats for you. There might be some more upstairs. But, yeah. Oh, the command had it as 1 word? Oh, sorry, Lydia. Yeah, I didn't write that. Yeah. Look at you. Look at me all demanding. I'm sorry, I don't have any treats, Sweetie Pie. I don't have any. Maybe if Lordy or Ios were watching, they could bring a treat down for you. But I don't think so. Right in the beam of attention. That's exactly what's going on here, Purple Urple. Yeah. Look at you. Look at you. Let's get that camera. It's like this. There we go. Get that upright for you. Whoop. Now we're upside down. That's not what I was intending. Here, hang on a minute. Let's, and that should be flip vertical. There we go, but now we're backwards. Oh, goodness. And flip horizontal. There we go. Yeah. You are just the center of attention right now, Sweetie Pie. Look at you. Yeah. Aww. Very polite. Very polite. You're getting... People are saying that you're looking very polite. I would agree. Look at you. Yeah, squish that face. I know you like that. Oh. Yeah. So, chat, you may or may not be aware that Sweetie Pie actually used to belong to Snail Chaser. And then he had to move to a place where he couldn't have a cat anymore. And so he needed to find a really good home for her, and Lordy and Ios agreed to adopt her. And so now here she is. And there we go. There she is there. She has really made herself at home here. She's very, very happy in this environment, and that makes me really happy. So, yeah. Sweetie Pie, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for appearing on stream again. And get that emoter 3. Maybe Dinosaur Dave, we'll see about that. Anyway, yeah. And she's just gonna be... She's just gonna be here, I guess. You know, not a problem. But it does mean that I need to get some more cameras set up for when this occurs. We could switch views in the case of a, you know, some cat cover. So we're gonna be working on that. I'll see if I can get Ios to help me set up some more cameras, because so far neither my computer nor OBS has really allowed for that. He's just here, you know? Oh, sweetie pie. Yeah. And chroma key sweetie pie's fur. Yeah, there you go. It's like... yeah. New camera in case of catastrophe. There you go. Yeah. We're currently experiencing some cat-related difficulties. Cat-related difficulties occurring. Sometimes these things happen, you know, and you just got to roll with the punches. It's a live broadcast, and like I said, the cats are my landlords, and so you must keep them appeased at all times. What do you think, sweetie pie? Oh, you're all done? All right, I'll see you later. Anyway, welcome everybody, and Happy New Year. Like I said, on today's broadcast, we're going to be ranking the, 23 of the 26 new dinosaur species named in the year 2023. 23 new dinosaurs for 2023. I'm going to put them on a tier list in just a little bit. But right now, why don't we talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions, and then we'll do a game of Metazua. The background looks so good. Thanks, Science Streams. I appreciate that. I do. Thank you, thank you. I didn't spend too much time on it today. I had a bunch of other stuff going on, but yeah. Do we have any New Year's resolutions anybody would like to share? Because I would like to share some of mine from last year, and we'll see how many we actually accomplished. New Year's resolutions. Maybe it was 2023 resolutions. There we go. Yeah. Here we are. Excellent. Well. My New Year's resolutions from 2023 are as follows. We'll see how many of these I got done. Well, first let's look at some of yours. I try to be as good a Psychomer as Paleontologizing. Oh, Bullet. My goodness. And gun for Twitch Ambassador. That sounds dangerous. Oh, you mean like go for Twitch Ambassador. Gotcha, Science Streams. It's uncharacteristically violent. Oh, Bullet. I appreciate you. Little Pink Pony says, mine is to get healthier. I started before the new year and will continue into the new year. I've had some bad health and want to do better. That's great, Little Pink Pony. Best of luck to you. Yeah. And Risa Dago says, we resolved to be better about leftovers. I think we did much better. Good for you. That's awesome. I was always raised to, like, never waste food. Like, the cost of whatever food, you know, I would waste, especially for, like, you know, lunches packed for school. It's like, any of that stuff gets wasted. Like, that comes out of your allowance, Danny. And that's really kind of stuck with me. And Reagan Nation says, I've only caught one of your streams this year, so I'm going to try to see more. I like the way you think, Reagan Nation. Yeah. Mine has become fit enough, mentally and physically, for an upcoming gender-affirming operation. Very nice, Rousey. Well. I hope you can get there, and I hope the operation goes well. Yeah. And Anakin Gabriel says, I'll be turning 27, so I hope to read more than 27 books this year. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Yeah. Smurf says, health. Okay, nice, nice. And more smiles, says Legion54. All right. I like that too. Simple but effective. But yeah. And very nice, Chris TS. Making it next year. There you go. Yeah. Positive mindset's important, Smurf. And Lena says, one of my goals is a daily self-check-in. I made a template on Google Sheets to track my eating habits, exercise, and any pains that pop up. That is very science-minded there, Lenina. I like that you're recording that information. That's really cool. That sounds like a great idea. And, 15,000 kilometers around Australia. Send you 3D scans and images of any of the fossils. That would be super cool, Dinosaur Dave. That would be super, super cool. Yeah. And Happy New Year to you too, Delta Rain. It's good to see you. Welcome back. And an art journal, Purple Urple. Well, well, well. That's really neat. I wish you the best of luck with that. Yeah, I know New Year's resolutions can be... They can be kind of arbitrary. They can be kind of silly, but I think they're often, you know, a good exercise. So let's take a look and see what were my resolutions from last year, and then we'll do some for this year. So number 1 was post all VODs to YouTube, and thanks to Ms. Claire Burr, I think we were able to accomplish that. Yeah, so holy cow, resolution accomplished. 100 push-ups every morning. I did not do this one. So, this one was not accomplished. Read 1,000 papers. Scientific papers. I thought, yeah, if I just do 3 every day, I'll be at 1,000 by the end of the year. Also here, didn't do that one either. Honestly, I probably read fewer than 200 papers all year. Those ones we might carry over to next year. However, do fieldwork streams here. Well, holy cow. For this one, resolution accomplished. We got that done. Excellent. Do fieldwork streams completed. This was a huge goal for this past year, was to be able to actually stream live from the field. And it required a ton of hard work to get that all set up, but we got it. And fundraising, and it was because of you wonderful supporters that was possible, with the solar generator setup and some of the other gear that I needed. That would not have been possible without your help, so thank you very, very much for that, chat. Holy cow. You helped make that a reality. Yeah. Get some papers published. I did not get any papers published this past year. So this one, too. Didn't do that one. It was too busy. The year was just too busy. Hopefully this year, I'll get that Spinosaur paper published, and then the floodgates are open, you know? Yeah. But shoot, this past year with getting ready for fieldwork streams and conferences and streaming every day and then moving and TwitchCon. Next year, I probably won't be attending as many conferences. And I will not be moving. So I should have some more time. Hopefully, I can be wise about how I spend that time and get those papers published. And then finally, exceed 300 average concurrent viewers. Well, well, well. I would say, resolution accomplished for that one too. Yeah, we definitely did this in the field. I had well over 300 average concurrent viewers when I was streaming from Wyoming and from Utah especially. So that one is completed. So 50%? Not too shabby, you know? Yeah. And we'll snag Partner Plus as well, easy peasy. I'm not even going to put that one on there, Lenina. Or should I? I don't know. What I'm going to do here is let's make a copy. There we go. We'll get rid of those. We'll change this to 2024. And I'm going to continue with this. I'm already on my way to this one. I did 20 push-ups this morning, but I used to do 200 every day, 100 in the morning and 100 in the evening. Right when I got out of bed, and then right when I was about to get back into bed at night. I'm working my way up to this again. So every morning there, we'll put those in single quotation marks there. Because we're going to build up to that. Yeah. Read 1,000 papers? I can do this. I just got to do 3 every day. And you know what? I'm reading at least 4 every week just to do the crossover streams with Balint. So that is going to be very doable too. Get some papers published. This might be the trickiest one, but I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to say exceed, let's say 700 concurrent viewers for fieldwork streams. And should I put Partner Plus on here too? That's one of those things when you're making a to-do list. Sometimes, I don't know, does anybody else do this? Where you, your first item on the to-do list is make to-do list, so you can just cross it off right at the beginning and feel like you've accomplished something? Sometimes I do that. Let's put it on here, you know? Achieve Partner Plus status. Let's put that right up here at the top. We are well on our way to that. Yeah. Maintain Partner Plus. Well, that's the thing, Lenina, is that once you get it the first time around, it's good for 12 months. And then they reevaluate. And so, Achieve Partner Plus and Maintain Partner Plus will be effectively the same thing. So yeah. But yeah. And Alex Vixen, Happy New Year's to you too. And, but yeah. And let's see. Don't make lists now. Okay, Sparky Pugwash, yeah. What else should we do? Oh, yeah. Big one. Let's see. Do interviews with fellow paleontologists. This is a big thing that we're going to be doing this next year, and so I want to put that on there just to make sure that, you know, we get that done. I think that's pretty good for now. I can always add more later. But yeah. Oh, and Twitch panel, we'll see about that. That's partly not going to be up to me, because it's partly up to the TwitchCon higher-ups, but that would be cool. Sparky Pugger says, what about eating healthy and trying new foods?
Because if they're removed,
CFA,
forever.
Thank you for subscribing. Holy cow. For 6 months there.
I do call myself
I really appreciate
an
it.
expert in dinosaur studies.
Holy cow. I really appreciate that. Thanks for supporting Science Outreach here on Twitch. Yeah. Sparky Pogo says, what about eating healthy and trying new foods? I already do a lot of that, and since Lordy does much of the cooking here, where I live now, yeah, I'm already eating a lot better than I used to. Now that I've got a trained chef making several of my meals, pretty much every day. Yeah. And I feel like I eat pretty healthy already. I don't eat meat. You know, I don't eat too much junk food or anything like that, for the most part. But what I should put on here, resolutions, is, get back into running. I used to do a lot of running. When I was in middle school, high school, college, it's really been a few years since I've really run more than just a couple miles here and there. I want to get back into running. So let's put that on there. And with that, I think that's pretty good. Yeah. And Steiger says, what was a running routine you enjoyed? When I lived with my mom back when I was in high school, I used to run, I think it was 3 miles out toward Highway 4 from my house in, like, Martinez area, Pacheco, and then back. Rain or shine, I would do that. Actually, I really enjoyed running in the rain. It was a lot of fun. Just run home and then just jump straight in the shower afterward. That was, like, wonderful. It never gets too cold here in the Bay Area, so, like, running in the rain can actually be really, really refreshing. And then, when I lived in Bozeman, Montana, I used to run from my apartment right by Montana State University campus. I used to run up to the top of Pete's Hill that overlooks the whole town. Big fault scarp up there. It's a really nice view. You can see the Spanish Peaks and the Bridger Mountains and everything from up there. I used to run to the top of that and back, and that was about 5 or 6 miles round trip, I think. Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to get back into running. Yeah. I live in a pretty hilly area, so it's gonna be easier than biking. I'll put it that way. Yeah. I love riding a bike in storms, especially over the river. You can jump a whole river with your bike, SV Harkin? That's impressive. Holy cow. Yeah. Only passed through Montana on an Amtrak train. Yeah, the Burlington Northern Santa Fe. Purple Urple. I used to see that train all the time. One time I picked up Denver Fowler's father at the Malta, Montana station on that line. So he could do some field work with us. This was back in 2015, I believe. Yeah. Anyway. I used to run marathons. Cool, Hogan. Wow. Gonna get back into marathon shape this year. Very nice. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. And Alex Fixon says, I also add finish writing list. That's the last one, so I can cross it off as I finish making the list. It's an effective, yeah, that is an effective strategy. Sounds like. Well, in keeping with goals and stuff, why don't we jump into a game of Metazua here? Gotta try and keep up the streak here. Yeah. Wait, Saranlin says the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance takes place there? Takes place where, Saranlin? Surely not Malta, Montana. Right? Honestly, not sure anybody there can read. Just kidding. Oh, very small town though. Very rural. If any of you have never seen this before, well, you're in for a treat. This is an online game. They refresh it every day. And in this... Oh, there's going to be a new game in 51 minutes. Well, we'll save that one for tomorrow. Let's do this one here. you've got to guess what the mystery animal of the day is by using the Tree of Life and using various clues. Well, not clues. You just kind of narrow it down because it gives you the smallest clade that it can come up with that includes your guessed animal and the mystery animal. So without further ado,
Hold on to your butts.
let's get started here. Okay, we already did that one. Oh, shoot. Oh. I gotta wait 51 minutes, I guess, for the next one. I guess yesterday we did today's. Well, that's a bummer. Okay. Well, we'll see if we can return to this in 50 minutes. So much for that. Yeah, we did it that late yesterday. I guess so, Lenina. Yeah. Anyway, we'll do that soon. And yeah, Malta, Montana. I used to live in Chicago, and I'd come out to Portland that way. Interesting, Delta. Wait, that book is set in Malta, Montana? Yeah. Added Morris got easier. Yeah, I might up it to 200. We'll see, Hogan. But yeah. Anyway, Neil Pimmy, thank you, Lenina. I appreciate that. We could do a practice one, Golganek. Let's do that real quick. Why not? Let's do a practice game here. So, there is a mystery animal here, and we have to try and guess what it is. And so, I found that since this game does tend to be pretty placental mammal heavy, let's just do a placental mammal. Somebody shout out a placental mammal, and we'll do that. I don't have to get a high score. This is a practice, you know? So, first placental mammal... Squirrel, says Sparky Pugwash. Okay. Squirrel. Let's do flying squirrel. Ooh. So, it is not a mammal today. It is an amniote, however. And so, I'm guessing... it's not going to be an amphibian. And it's not going to be a mammal. Because if it were a mammal, it would be Mammalia right here, at least. If not, Eutheria or something. So what this tells me is it's going to be a sauropsid. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go to our Tree of Life site over here. Let's try Amniota. The amniotes. Amniotes are animals that ancestrally laid eggs on dry land. That includes the ancestors of the reptiles and the mammals. Sauropsids and synapsids. So over here, we've got mammals. These are synapsids. It just says Mammalia because the rest of the synapsids are extinct. This tree doesn't show extinct critters. And up here we have these sauropsids. So I can tell... Sauropsids, by the way, are what most people would call reptiles. But it also includes birds. Birds evolved from earlier reptiles. They evolved from dinosaurs, which evolved from early reptiles than that. Skip this song. There we go. And so we can tell that this is going to be a sauropsid because Amniota is the last common ancestor, the most exclusive clade that our mystery animal shares with the flying squirrel. So we can tell that it's going to be some kind of sauropsid. So right now, what I got to figure out is it an archosaur or is it not? And the way I'm going to do that is by, let's type in a bird name. Give me the name of a bird. Any bird. Anybody. Give me the name of a bird. Sparrow. Thank you, Lenina. Alright. Oh, and it is a neonath bird. Alright. So our mystery animal is a neonath bird. We just got to figure out what now. So, we know it's an archosaur. Right there. Archosauria. We know it is a bird. a neonath bird, but it's not going to be a ratite or a tinamou. These are the paleonaths. We can just cut that branch off right there. We don't need it right now. It's going to be one of these. And holy cow, are there a lot of species of neonath. How many species?
Over 9,000!
They're pretty diverse. And so I can try and be smart about this. We can try and find... I'm going to try and cut that clade in half. We're going to see whether or not it's a passerine bird. And so, let's search wren. They don't have wren. Okay. I gotta find some other kind of passerine bird. We could try a bunting or a warbler. Oh wait, no, hang on. No, let me think. I'm getting ahead of myself here. We already guessed sparrow right here. And it's not a sparrow. Sparrows already are passerine birds. So if it were a sparrow, look. Sparrows. Well, let's go to song of sparrows. There we go. They're way down here. They are a kind of passerine bird. If it were a passerine, it would say passerine birds here. And it doesn't. So this means it's going to be a non-passerine bird. So let's go back up to AVs. It'll be a non-passerine neonath bird. And so it could be a gull or a duck, yeah, or a loon. There's only 448 species of fowl, so that might not be the best use of my guess there. There's 1,000 species of these, flamingos, petrels, and pigeons. Although these don't have clade names, that's not the most encouraging. But let's just try that. Let's try pigeon. Okay, it's not a pigeon, it's not a sparrow. This is going to be tricky. There are a lot of bird species. And this is not giving me clade names. It doesn't make it super easy. Charadriformes. Okay, let's try gull. Seagull is the best it's going to give us there. Okay. Still no dice. We're stuck at neonaths here. That's such a big clade. Alright, let's try eagle or something. Bald eagle. Nope. We're just developing a massive polytomy here, basically. It's not the best. Let's try gray parrot. Oh! Good. We've got... Excellent. We have got a lead here. So it is in Cetacidae. This is the parrot family. Yeah. Not just Psittaciformes, it is within Psittacidae. Very nice. Okay, we're doing well. Psittacidae. I typed that in and I don't get anything here. There's 2 T's, right? Yep. Parakeets. Let's try, Scarlet Macaw on here, and we'll see if that gets us closer to Psittacidae. There we go. Scarlet Macaw. The fact that this doesn't have clade names here is a little frustrating. I'm trying to use that as a tool, but let's try Macaw.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, that's it. We got it. Not too shabby. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Well, that's that game. We'll get back to this in a little bit because, yeah, it'll be in 39 minutes. The new one will pop up. Yeah, it's a fun game. Isn't that cool, Sparky Pugwash? Yeah, yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, I think we're about ready to jump into our 2023 dinosaurs. What do you think, chat? You ready for that? I have already created a little tier list. There we go. There were 23 new dinosaurs published in the year 2023. Actually, there were 26, but there's 25 new genera, and I took 2 of those out because I couldn't get access to the paper, or they were just based on really, really scanty material. So yeah. What does presentation mode look like? Yeah, okay, we can do that. Nice. Well, shall we go ahead and get started with one? Yeah. Pal, we had a new... What, Ace Bronson? Anyway, let's get started. And we will start off with... Oh, goodness. I wish that these were rendered a little bit better. That's frustrating. These are, like, just slightly too... Does that help? It helps a little. The bigger you make it, the more distorted the images get, but that's fine. Yeah. Anyway, let's get started with... Let's say Eoni right here. We also have a list of them right here. So, you know what? Yeah. Or... No, let's do Egai. This is a new sauropod dinosaur from Egypt. Yeah. And, oh, and Lenina, we can determine whether or not you got a bingo here, too, because I heard you got very, very close, right? Let's get started with Egai right here. And Megatronus, thank you for that gift sub there. I do appreciate that. I really do. Thank you, Megatronus. Yeah. Egai Semku. We talked about this critter when I came back from the field this summer. Because we had like 9 new dinosaurs that were described while I was out doing field work. And this was one of them. So the way that we're going to do this, the way that we're going to evaluate all of these, is using this rubric that I came up with. We're going to score these dinosaurs from 1 to 4 based on these characteristics. The quality of the fossil material, how complete was the specimen, how well preserved was it, how much of the animal is represented, is there more than one specimen? Stratigraphic data is how well do they record when the animal is from in time. Did they have high-resolution stratigraphic data? Or did they not? The better the data, the more points they get. On to genetic insight. Did they actually consider whether the animal was mature or not? If they actually did histo on it, if they cut open some of the limb bones and it counted the number of lines of arrested growth inside to determine how old the animal was when it died, well, that's top marks then. If they don't mention ontogeny at all and they just kind of assume like, oh yeah, it's big, must be mature, or it's small, must be a juvenile, that'll be low marks. So ontogenetic insight is worth some points too. Paleobiological interest is really neat. This is just going to be like, does this animal say anything cool about the ecosystem that it lived in, or about this group as a whole? Is there any evidence of behavior or anything like that in there? And then finally, novelty. How new is this critter? How exciting is it? I think that one kind of speaks for itself. There we go. That is our rubric there. So, let's go ahead and check out Guy here. There we are. Let's pull up the paper in the Journal of Vertebrate Paleontology. Take a look at that PDF. Here is a link, if any of you would like to read the paper yourselves. There we go. New titanosaur from the Upper Cretaceous Cassier Formation of the Kharga Oasis, Egypt. So, the amount they have of the animal is highlighted here in yellow. And so, with our rubric quality of fossil material, let's see how good this is. They've got some limb bones, and they've got some dorsal vertebrae right there. They've got a coracoid. If they had a skull on this sauropod, that would be like an instant 4 points. But for this, it's not super stellar. I might give this a 2 out of 4. Closely associated partial postcranial skeleton, 5 fragmentary dorsal verts, partial left coracoid, partial left ulna, 3 left metacarpals. Yeah, since this is from Egypt, I don't know. If I could give it a 3.5, I would. Or a 2.5, excuse me. We don't have any super complete dinosaurs from Egypt, so it's cool just having this. Yeah. Let's go ahead and pull up the old annotator here. There we go. And so we are going to give it a 4 for E-Guy. We're going to give it a 2 for quality of fossil material. I think that's fair. It's not the most complete thing in the world, and it's not super well preserved. I think 2 is fair there. Now, for stratigraphic data, let's see what we've got. Etymology, diagnosis, terminology. There we go. For discussions of geology and age of the Cassier Formation for additional locality and stratigraphic context, see figures S1-3 in the supplementary files. There's not going to be a great deal of information available here. And so that presents us with something of a challenge, I guess. For stratigraphic data, I think we're going to go ahead and give it a 2 as well for that. I don't want to be too generous with the points this early on. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. It's new because one hasn't been found in Egypt at that age. Yes, Megatronus, yeah. And also, it's going to have a few unique characteristics in the skeleton as well. A few of what we call atapomorphies, if that makes sense. Let me show you. There we go. Yep. Egai Semku, Genet Spanov, new genus, new species, constitutes one of the most informative dinosaurs yet recovered from late Cretaceous of Afro-Arabia. Excuse me. The relatively gracile limb bones and differences in the coracoid and metatarsal 1 preclude referral to the of the new specimen to Mansaurosaurus. Yeah. So anywho, I guess there's going to be a few unique characters in a couple of the bones, but they honestly don't have a lot to work on here. Next up is ontogenetic insight, which I think this paper's going to do pretty well with. Let's take a look. Ontogenetic stage and body size. The neural arches of all preserved dorsal vertebrae are fused to their respective centra. Oh boy, they're using vertebral fusion as a proxy for ontogeny. As such, the holotype specimen of Egai probably somatically mature or nearly so at the time of death. This, however, is not totally certain. I'm glad they admit that, yes. As the presence of a possible articular surface for the scapula on the left coracoid suggests that these two bones may not have been fully co-ossified at time of death. Absent other vertebrae from different regions of the axial skeleton and the complete scapular coracoid to compare, the assessment of the ontogenic stage remains incomplete. As sauropodomorphs tend to exhibit differing orders of skeletal element fusion through ontogeny. I'm really glad that they admit that. Excellent. Good for them. Suggests the individual is relatively medium-sized for the clade. So they didn't do any histo, but I am feeling a little bit generous here. And I think for ontogenetic insight here, you know, they kind of did the best they could with what they had. So I'm going to give them a 3 for ontogenetic insight. Could have been a lot worse. I would like to see more papers actually, more authors admit that you can't really determine ontogenetic stage through, you know, element fusion. You really got to do histo. Paleobiological interest. I think I'm going to put this at a... Goodness. I kind of want to split it between 3 and 2. But since it is one of the more informative dinosaurs from Egypt, as they were saying, I'm going to give that a 3. Not too shabby. And novelty? I'm going to give it a 2, I think. Because we're more generous here. And so, our total score is 6 plus 6. 12 here. So let's see how this dinosaur ranks on our tier list. We have Egai... Right... Where did it go? I'm a little bit frustrated that they didn't, that, like, all of these are cut off. That's gotta be it right there. Egai. 12 points is gonna put us right here. And the orange, not too shabby, actually. Not too shabby at all. Very nice. Very nice. GG, Egyptian dinosaur. I know, right? Cool stuff. This is the only dinosaur described from Egypt from this past year. You might be interested to know, actually, what the rankings were for how many new dinosaur species were described from each country. We have dinosaurs from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 different nations had new dinosaurs published from them in the year 2023. Does anybody have a guess as to what the leading nation there was? Or rather, I don't know, give me the names of some countries in the chat, and I'll tell you whether or not they had any new dinosaurs published from them. And China, yes indeed, Steely Dan and Anakin Gabriel. China had 3 new dinosaur species published this year. South America's a continent, Rylesy. Gotta be more specific than that. Avalon Angels, Poland. No new dinosaurs from Poland this year. No. USA/Canada, that's 2 countries. Simeon, pick one. Togo, none from there. From the UK, we had 2 new dinosaurs from the UK. We had 3 from Argentina. Jimon, yeah. But yeah. And Rich Hallquist says dragons, they're known as dragons, not done. Could you rephrase your... Is that a question, Rich Hall? Confused at what you're trying to say. Anyhow, yeah, Australia. No new dinosaurs from Australia this year, Megatronus. Yeah. And none from Antarctica, Alex Vixen. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Canada, then, if I only get one guess. Simeon, yes. 2 new dinosaurs from Canada this year. And does anybody want to guess which country had the most dinosaurs described from it this past year? I say this a lot. You know, the people ask me, like, which countries had the most dinosaurs named from it? That's borne out in the past year's publications. It is the U.S. Yes, indeed, Lenina and Anakin Gabriel. Yes, indeed. 6 new dinosaurs published from these United States this past year. So the U.S. really took home the gold this year. Spain was actually second, with 4 dinosaurs, although, honestly, I think some of those are not going to be valid. They're probably not going to stand the test of time, but one of them I didn't even include in today's rubric, or in today's, yeah. Anyway, and Rich Hallquist, Encyclopedia never had dinosaurs, they had dragons. I don't know what you're talking about, Rich Hall. Antarctica, I have no idea what you're talking about, Rich Hall. No. Wait, was this something about... Is this like some sort of conspiracy theory nonsense? Oh boy. Oh boy. Anyway, no, it's a fact. You look up a 1851, there's no mention of dinosaurs, it's dragons. So, Rich Hall, I think you're a little bit confused about this. So the word dinosaur was coined in 1842 by Richard Owen, a comparative anatomist, one of the most famous naturalists of Victorian England. 1842 was when he coined the word dinosaur. I guess you misremembered, and well, you've misremembered a bunch of stuff in here, but you're saying 1851? This has nothing to do with encyclopedias. This is in the scientific literature. I can actually show you the original scientific paper in which Richard Owen coins the word dinosaur. Give me just a second. going to be in this collection of papers here. And let's find that one. From 1842. And let's see, we gotta... Hang on a second. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And let's small in this. When Sweetie Pie, the cat, was on stream earlier, I made this a little bit bigger so we could see her. But we're trying to find Owen, 1842. And I believe this is it right here. It should have Megalosaurus, Iguanodon, and Hylaeosaurus in it. Yeah, this is it. This is the original descriptive paper coining the word dinosaur in 1842. There we go. This group, which includes at least 3 well-established genera of saurians, is characterized by a large sacrum composed of 5 ankylosed vertebrae of unusual construction, by the height and breadth of outward sculpturing of the neural arch of the dorsal vertebrae, by the twofold articulation of the ribs to the vertebrae, viz. At the anterior part of the spine, by head and tubercle, and along the rest of the trunk by a tubercle attached to a transverse process only, yada yada yada. Yeah. But there it is. This is the original descriptive paper reproduced here in this book. When Richard Owen was first examining these animals, it became clear that there was like a group of fossil reptiles that were completely different from all other fossil reptiles. And so, given that living things don't naturally have names, he had to come up with a name for them. So he called them dinosaurs. We were talking about this yesterday on our New Year's stream too. Anyway, yeah. And Rich Hallquist, but there were dragons like there was a unicorn. Rich Hall, I don't know who told you this, but I'm sorry. They misled you. They lied to you. Unicorns are not real. I know you might see a lot of stuff on TikTok, but there's no basis in that. I'm sorry. Same with leprechauns, you know? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And Rich Hallquist says the Smithsonian Institute hides an awful lot. Have you done work at the Smithsonian? Have you ever been in a museum collections, maybe, Rich Hallquist? I mean, we're going off on a tangent here. We got a lot of more dinosaurs to cover for today. We've got 1 out of 23 done so far, but you know what? I'll show you a little video. Yeah. Because we can use this as a teaching moment, you know? Yeah. Rich Hallquist says, I've sent stuff to them and other institutes long-term storage not to be seen. You know you can visit those facilities if you talk to the right people, right? And like, so I've done a lot of work in museum collections before. A museum, here. I'll put it this way. I think a lot of people are really confused about how museums work.
Amazing.
And Elias, holy cow. Distraction, yes indeed. Thank you for the 20 months of support. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. 20 months is a long time, Elias. Thank you so much for keeping me on here. When you go to a museum, the stuff that you see on display as a member of the public is only the very tip of the iceberg. That's like probably less than... It's probably 0.1% of the total collections. The collections are behind the scenes because a lot of these things are exceedingly delicate or not particularly pretty. They're not the sort of thing you would want to put on display. Museums exist to further science. They exist to give researchers access to specimens for scientific study. The public display thing is just, it's kind of the icing on the cake.
No other creature in the world looks like a half-plucked turkey and walks like a pot-bellied bear.
But Ironbark does. Thank you for those 17 months of support. I really appreciate that, Ironbark. Thank you, thank you. Holy cow. There was a really neat video that I saw recently. There we go. So this is a little video from Business Insider. And this kind of helps explain that. Why most of the stuff, it says why 99% of the Smithsonian specimens are hidden in high security. They're kind of dramatizing that a little bit. I guess the title is a tiny bit clickbaity, but this is how museums actually work. Take a look.
The Smithsonian Museum of Natural History has over 147 million specimens, the largest collection in the world. Everything from giant dinosaur bones to delicate butterflies to pickled animals like this stonefish.
Most venomous in the world. Whoops.
But less than 1% of it's on display.
Yep.
The rest is tucked away in what's called collections, hidden behind the scenes.
All right, so this is our vault area, our secure storage area for the mineral collection.
It costs more than $100 million to run the museum, and it's mostly funded with taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
So why does the U.S. government spend so much money on things most Americans will never see?
Because we get so much more out of it.
Specimens aren't just sitting here gathering dust. They're actively used for research, with big impact.
And by the way, the Smithsonian is a collection of how many different museums? We're used to thinking of the Smithsonian, Natural History Museum, what we call the NMNH, the National Museum of Natural History. Excuse me. That's one I'm concerned with as a dinosaur paleontologist. People like Matt Carano and Hans Seuss work there. I think we just saw Hans Seuss a minute ago in the video with that. Was it a hadrosaur skull?
I can spare no expense.
And thank you, Legion 54.
54 gifted a tier 1 sub to Alex Wixon.
I appreciate that,
They
Legion.
have
Thank you,
over
thank you.
4 gift subs in
Yeah.
the channel.
Yeah, but we've also got several art museums. There's the History Museum, the National History Museum, the Air and Space Museum. There's, the Museum of African American History. There's a whole bunch of other museums that are all under the Smithsonian umbrella. Right here, I think we're mostly focusing on the National Museum of Natural History. That's the one with the fossils in it. And other specimens, like these Canada geese.
This is what caused the airplane to land in the Hudson River.
But flooding could endanger it all.
Oof.
We went inside the secret collections in Washington, D.C. to see how they
that was Hans
acquire,
Seuss right there.
clean, maintain, and protect millions of specimens.
Looks like an Oreodont skull.
This is how much of the Museum of Natural History you can see. But the hidden collections make up the rest of the space. More than 1.4 million square feet, spread across the museum and the off-site support center. There are 7 different departments, from entomology to paleobiology.
Yeah, who can tell me what kind of critter that is right there? Anybody identify this animal? It's probably not what you think. It's not a gharial grilled Pikachu, no. Not a crocodile either, Sparky Pugwash. It does look like a crocodile, Cliff. Yeah, but it's not a dolphin either. No. There's so many different animals that, over the history of life, have evolved this same kind of structure to their jaws. But this right here, nobody got it. Wow. No, not a Champsosaur, Lenina. This is a Phytosaur. These guys were basically crocodiles before crocodiles evolved. Phytosaurs are a group of, like, archosauromorph reptiles that were kind of in the crocodile niche before the evolution of crocodiles. So this is a totally different group. They're not related closely to crocodiles. They are really neat. So these guys were really big at the beginning of the age of dinosaurs. And they looked superficially like crocodiles, but they're not related to crocodiles. They would have actually eaten some of the first dinosaurs. Dinosaurs like Coelophysis. Probably would have been eaten by phytosaurs at some point. Yeah, really cool group of reptiles. Yeah, large, mostly semi-aquatic, late Triassic archosauriform reptiles. Yeah. They were long-snouted and heavily armored, bearing a remarkable resemblance to modern crocodilians in size, appearance, and lifestyle, as an example of convergence or parallel evolution. Yeah. Yeah. Phytosaur snout. These guys are different from crocodilians, that their nostrils are up here by their eyes. That's what that bump is right there. Phytosaur versus crocodile. Thank you, Origin TT, for that gift sub. I appreciate that. Yeah, here. Let's try Phytosaur nostrils. Yeah, there we go. So, external nostrils are up there. The nares. Location of nostrils right there. And so, yeah, compare that to I think this is genus Tomistoma. I think this is a false gharial right here, which is a kind of crocodile, the one on the bottom. So, crocodile, phytosaur. Crocodile, phytosaur. They look pretty similar, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's a phytosaur, not a crocodile.
And the collections are constantly growing. Visiting the museum is free to the public because it's government funded through tax dollars. But researchers here can't use tax money to acquire new objects. So how do they get them? Well, they're either collected in the field, donated, or purchased with endowments. For example, this giant Arkansas crystal was donated to Mineral Sciences in 2021.
Holy
we
cow.
don't know exactly how much it cost,
Pretty
but
big.
estimates put it in the millions.
Holy cow.
Over in entomology, scientists collect half of the new insects in the field and get the other half from donations.
As people retire and they're looking for permanent homes for their collections, those often come to us. These are the tailless whip scorpions, so anybody who watched Harry Potter would recognize these. They're actually really docile, they're easy to handle. You can actually get these as pets.
But getting dinosaur bones
there's
is
Hans
much
Seuss.
harder.
So here's some of the dinosaur material.
Paleontologist Hans Seuss is up against a growing market of private collectors.
Started after those awful Jurassic Park movies when everybody decided to have a dinosaur in their living room. People now think that if they find a toe bone, they should get enormous amounts of money for it.
And since they have to rely on endowments, museums can't compete at million-dollar auctions.
Nor should they, because usually those specimens that get sold at auction like that, they don't even have, provenance data with them. They're essentially scientifically worthless because they were just ripped out of the ground without proper data. And so all the important stratigraphic information that we need in order to actually study these things properly doesn't exist. When data is overhead, as Jack Horner would say, you don't get good data. Cuts into your profits, So yeah, I agree, Lenina. Yeah.
Commercially collected fossils have no detailed locality information, and that makes them scientifically almost worthless.
So all Hans can collect are bones he finds on federal lands, or
state
smaller
lands.
ones he can purchase with donations.
Which he's not really going to do. Yeah.
But some collections at the museum are just really old. Today, bird researchers rarely collect specimens.
And stratigraphic is related to the ground instant. Exactly, the strata, Rousey, the rock layers. Really, some of the most important stuff, the most important information around a dinosaur is literally around the dinosaur. Since these are a record of past life, recording good data about exactly where in the rock column they came from is extraordinarily important. That might be the most important thing. If you don't know when your dinosaur is from in time, it's scientifically worthless, throw it away. I would like to emphasize this here. If a dinosaur just gets dug up haphazardly and you don't know from what time it came from, it's a waste to throw it away. Put it in a dumpster. It's been destroyed, basically, if you collect it without data. And sometimes other paleontologists from other museums that don't have, they've got fossils that were collected 130 years ago, maybe, and they don't have any good data associated with them. They are scientifically worthless. Throw them away. They are a waste of space. You know? Go out there and actually collect some specimens with good data. You know? Yeah.
Most extraordinary group of animals that have ever appeared on this planet. The dinosaurs.
Well. Chronic as Thagamizer, thank you for the follow. Sounds like you're in the right place. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Holy cow. It's good to have you here. How are things? Yeah, and new Minnesota. Cool, Grilled Pikachu. We'll see if we can get to that. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. And Ayala Brenna, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Thanks for following. It's good to have you here. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And Alex Vixen says, Danny, you had a question from Steger. Thank you, Alex Vixen. What advantage does that jaw shape have? Jaw shape. Oh, you talking about with the phytosaur? Yeah, so with these long, thin jaws like that, these guys were fish-eating animals for the most part, especially these ones that have got very, very thin jaws. Other animals, well, here. I'll tell you like this. If we're trying to figure out what this extinct animal was doing with its really long, thin jaws, we can do some comparative anatomy. We can look at modern animals that also have very long, thin jaws like this, and we can figure out what they use them for. We can actually observe these guys using their jaws. And gharials eat fish. They are fish specialists. They eat almost entirely just fish. And those long, thin jaws are for swiping through the water very, very fast to be able to catch their fishy prey. That's the reason their jaws are so lightly built, so thin like this, is they can just slice through the water with tremendous speed, and that's how they catch their prey. What's cool is these guys are around today, and that's what they use their jaws for. Looking at the jaws of gharials like this, we can say, shoot, they must have been doing the same exact thing, because their jaws look almost identical. Yeah. And how big are phytosaurs? They range a lot in size, reverse oatmeal. The smallest ones are, I don't know, probably like this. The biggest ones, like, I don't know if we still call it this, but it used to be called Rudiodon. They could be tremendously large. I mean, just huge. Like 30 feet long. Like 9 meters. Enormous. They got really big. They got really, really big. So bigger than our largest crocodiles today. But again, I want to emphasize these are not crocodiles. They're phytosaurs. They are, they're basically like crocodiles before there ever were crocodiles, you know? Yeah. Leptosuchus there is one of the largest. Search Leptosuchus size. Shoot. Yeah, they got big. They got really big. Anyway, yeah. And Steelydensis never considered the super thin jaws having low resistance to moving through water. That makes so much sense. Oh yeah. There are other creatures today that have got a similar kind of setup. Sailfish are a good example. Where they don't actually have teeth in their jaws, so they do something slightly different, but they will just use that thing like a sword to whip through the water and snap at their prey. It's really impressive. Sailfish, billfish, marlin, swordfish, they all do the same thing. It's pretty cool. And yeah, the reason that's so long and thin is for just cutting through the water. Yeah. And thank you, Elias. Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. Take a look at this. So these are gharial. Yep. Those jaws are just for swiping through the water. Like this. Watch. Yes. Got him. Yeah. So gharial will... More of their diet consists of fish than any other crocodilian. Alligators, for instance, with their big broad snouts. Alligators will eat... They'll eat fishes. They'll eat mammals. They'll eat birds. They'll eat turtles. Alligators actually have kind of big round teeth toward the back of their jaw. And they use those for cracking open turtle shells. But yeah, check that out. Yeah. Beautiful demonstration right there. Watch. Yeah. And there you go again. Good stuff. But yeah, Dinosaurs would have been doing the same thing. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. New quiz should be open anytime. Nice, thank you, Legion. Here, let's continue this video here though, because I want to finish
Specimens
this.
in the wild.
This bird was collected in 1904.
And if they do, it's from healthy bird populations.
Today we take tissues, we take song recordings, we keep skeletons, we make spread wings. So we have a lot more parts of the bird that we save. And it's our ethical responsibility to do as much as we can with the specimen if we're going to take it from the wild for research.
Once a specimen is purchased or collected in the field, it's transported to the museum. Specimens like that giant crystal
It's probably
then go through a
formaldehyde
process
or
called accessioning.
or formalin or something.
The museum inspects the objects so they can take ownership of it, make sure that it's in good shape when we receive it here at the museum.
The museum acquires 300,000 specimens a year to
Holy
reflect
cow.
the scale and the diversity of the natural world. Once the museum accepts an object, it has to get cleaned. Out at the Museum Support Center, any recently living creatures are cleaned using beetles. That
Yep.
really like
Those are called dermestid beetles. They're flesh-eating beetle larvae. They eat dead stuff. They're not going to eat you while you're alive, but if you die and they're stuck in a room with you, they will eat you. But they clean the bones really, really well. So they're used in specimen preparation all the time. This is kind of the standard for how to like clean a vertebrate skeleton. Just put it in with a bunch of dermestid beetle larvae.
to munch on
Yeah.
dry skin.
They're a little bit more free-roaming in the larger chamber. There's nothing really containing them except for trays.
You don't want rotting flesh in storage.
We currently have a sea turtle, elephant, dolphin skulls, and I believe there's a wallaby in there.
Cleaning dinosaur bones takes even more work.
Look at that. That was a sauropod skull right there. Shoot. Looks like Diplodocus, maybe. Or Gallimiopus. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Work.
We'd be lucky if all we had to do was just dust them off. They're encased in their host rock, which is what we call matrix. And that matrix has to be removed little by little bit.
What this awful stock footage here. Ugh. This is super fake. It's not... It's literally somebody just in a sandbox with a, you know, a sculpted dinosaur skull here.
By bit.
Michelle uses this machine, called an air scrape. It blasts...
It's an air scribe. Air scribe, not air scrape. Oh no. Ah!
Little by little, bit by bit.
Michelle uses this machine, called an air scrape. It blasts...
Little by little, bit by bit.
Michelle uses this machine, called an air scrape. It blasts compressed air at the rock. But how do they prepare...
It doesn't really blast compressed air. It's not a sandblaster. So they had the wrong name. And so the way that this works, an air scribe, it's like a tiny pneumatic jackhammer. So it's got a little metal tip on it, and it just goes like that, like a jackhammer, but just at really, really small scale. It runs on compressed air out of a big old, you know, honking air compressor. So there is air that's involved with it, obviously, but it's not like blowing air onto the fossil. There's a little needle tip to it that that moves in and out like that. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a tattoo gun or like a dental drill. It's... The best way I can think to describe it is like a tiny pneumatic jackhammer. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at this here. There you go. So this metal tip is vibrating. There you go. And so, since hopefully the rock is less strong than the bone is, you can use this to just remove tiny, tiny bits of rock. Just like this. It's painstaking work. It takes a long time. But, yeah, there you go. Just like this. But it's vibrating with such high intensity and such high frequency that, yeah, it almost looks like it's just carving the rock away. It's really cool. Yeah. And jackhammer on a small scale sums it up? Yeah, I think so, Legion. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. That's an air scribe.
Blast compress air at the rock. But how do they prepare something to be stored forever? Well, a dinosaur bone can't just sit on a shelf exposed. Over time, gravity would start to break it down. So most bones get a custom storage cradle built out of fiberglass and plaster. It's basically a fancy Tempur-Pedic. Each costs about $800. They're pest.
What? I've made a lot of cradles in my life. None of them ever cost $800. Where are they getting that figure? It's just fiberglass and foam and plaster of Paris. Maybe $80 if you really want to, if you're... $800? Where did they get this from? That's insane.
Basically a fancy Tempur-Pedic. Each costs about $800.
And it's not a fancy Tempur-Pedic. It's a thing that we slap together because it's handmade. It's like jury-rigged. Oh, boy.
They're pest and water resistant. Hans wants them to last...
They're not water resistant. What? Water resistant me... I mean, I guess if you spill a cup of coffee on them, then hopefully the coffee will run off the sides, but they're not... I wouldn't call that water... I don't know.
Because he loves his fossils.
I'm kind of a wallflower, but You tell people that you're a paleontologist at the Smithsonian, and you're suddenly the center of attention.
It's true.
On the other side of the museum, some of the older animals got stuffed.
Squirrel.
And some get picked.
Oh, it was Kirk Johnson there.
Side of the museum, some of the older animals got stuffed.
Squirrel.
That's a very elongate squirrel. Yeah. And reverse oatmeal. What are you talking? No, I would never charge a museum to make a cradle for them. It's like you've got the materials on hand that the museum has there, and then you make it, you know? I'd say it'd probably cost more like, probably less than $8. I don't know where they got 800, you know? But anyway, it's not a transactional thing. It's like, that's not how it works. Anyway, and Sparky Pugger says they charge a lot for specialist items. That's not a specialist item. It's literally made of household materials. Like, we make it ourselves, Sparky Pugwash. You can't buy those because literally have to custom make them.
And plaster. It's basically a fancy Tempur-Pedic. Each costs about $800. They're pest.
No, it doesn't. We literally make them by hand in the museum. They don't get, like, I don't even know how you would, who even had the idea to put a dollar amount on it? To put a figure on it doesn't make any sense. You know? I don't get it. I don't get it, you know? Maybe if they calculate pay per hour? I mean, something like this might take a couple hours to make, yeah. But Hans Seuss is not getting paid by the hour. He's salaried, you know? So that doesn't make any sense. And no, Samuel Animates, they do not contract with anyone. No, this is... Hans Seuss probably made this himself, or maybe a technician in the lab made it. But it's not like... This is not some sort of big business thing where it's like contracted out to some firm or something. A million times no, that's not how it works, you know? This is small time. This is like... Somebody made this very lovingly. Somebody did an excellent job with this in the lab, but it's like... You know... That would be saying like, oh, well, you know... A lot of grandmothers, they'll contract out, some firm to bake cookies. It's like, it's as wild as saying that, the suggestion that, like, this is getting contracted out, because it doesn't work that way. And the Smithsonian itself doesn't have that much money to spend on these things. Like, this is very lovingly crafted, probably by a technician in the prep lab, you know? Yeah, I literally think they just pulled it out of thin air, Samuel Animates, unless maybe they had to, like, come up with a figure in order for insurance purposes or something. That's the nearest I can get to trying to make sense of this, is that maybe they came up with a figure for insurance purposes, but even then, that would have just been pulled out of thin air, that figure, you know? Oh, anyway, yeah. And can you pull the bone out of the cradle? Yeah, that's the idea, reverse oatmeal. So, I've made a lot of these in the past. So, what you do is you have the fossil bone, and you set it on top of, well, you put it on some sandbags on a table. So you've got a table right here, put some sandbags there, and you very gently place the fossil bone on top of it. And then after that, you take, like a plastic film, like saran wrap, cling wrap, thin disposable plastic film. You put it on top of the bone. And then you take some sheets of fiberglass, and you can, like, soak them in plaster of Paris, or you can put them directly on top of the saran wrap, and you paint plaster over that. And then you just do that layer by layer. So it's, like, conformed to the outside of it. It's form-fitting, You can't make it super tight because you want to be able to remove the bone afterward. But you put it over it, fit it to the form, and then it dries, and then you flip it over, and you do the other side. It's kind of like making a field jacket, except you're using fiberglass instead, because a field jacket is supposed to be temporary. A cradle like that should last decades if you do it right. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, reverse boat wheel, yeah. Anyway,
and water resistant.
Where were we? We were at...
Hans wants them to last because he
squirrel.
loves his fossils. On the other side of the museum, some of the older animals got stuffed.
Squirrel.
And some get pickled.
When you pickle a whole organism, you can study not just
Probably
their
is
fur
ethanol.
and their skeleton, but their internal anatomy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Everything from a polar bear embryo to bats to giant fish are stored in alcohol. These fish come from all over the world.
So see, these do not fit in jars. And the cheesecloth is to keep them from drying out if the level gets low. So the coelacanth, they thought it was extinct.
Holy cow, we've got a coelacanth too. Very, very nice. Yeah, check that out.
Drying out if the level gets low. So the coelacanth, they thought it was extinct, and in 1938, it was discovered in South Africa. It was a very big deal.
It was a very big deal. We had a whole big stream about that on Fishmas Day. There we go. Let's go to the YouTube page. These are not in order. And there we go. We had a very special Fishmas stream for Fishmas Day. There we go, with the coelacanth there. That's 3D printed, by the way. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Over in entomology, the insects get dried and pinned, so they're temperature stable. Then Floyd and his team put them into these hydraulic carriages.
We have 35 million specimens in the collection. We have over 400,000 species represented in our collection, which is more than all the other departments combined. Since insects are essentially our only major competitor for food, and because they have such a profound impact on humans.
And holy cow, Flirty Mango, welcome to Paleontologizing. Well, howdy to you. I was like, you're in the right place. First time here? I'm glad you're here. I have a master's in paleontology. Very, very cool. Haven't really used my degree in a while, but just wanted to say hi. I studied American mastodon.
Dinosaurs had not died, perhaps.
Mammut americanum.
No reason to think dinosaurs wouldn't still be here, wouldn't still be dominating the Earth.
And, thank you for the follow, Flirty Mango. Great to have you here. Holy cow. Welcome. I've got a 3D printed mastodon tooth over there. I can go get it if you want to see it. I'd have to dig it out from a container. But, I'm a dinosaur guy myself. I work mostly on kind of basic dinosaur functional morphology. Kind of some low-hanging research fruit right now. But, yeah, Spinosaurids are a group that I'm going to be publishing on next. But, anyway, it's good to have you here, Flirty Mango. Holy cow. Mastodon are really, really cool animals. Yeah, we used to have them right here in the San Francisco Bay Area, where I live. But, you know what? Let me go get that mastodon tooth. Here, give me just a second. We'll continue playing this video. I'll be right back.
Human health.
Each of these storage techniques is designed to last indefinitely. But while the researchers have done all they can to safeguard these precious objects, it's unclear how much longer they'll be able to do that. The National Mall was once a marsh, and today it sits in the floodplain of the Potomac River.
We're literally at sea level here. So one thing I've been doing is this year moving all collections out
There's...
Really spectacular. Spared no expense.
Oh, thank you, Golganak.
Golganak gifted a tier 1 sub to Flirty Mango.
I really appreciate that, Golganak. Thank you.
Gift subs in the channel.
Excellent. And, Flirty Mango, enjoy not having to watch any ads for the next 30 days. Thank you, Golganek. There's Kirk Johnson, who's a paleobotanist and current director of NMNH, the National Museum of Natural History at the Smithsonian Institution. And here is that mastodon tooth right there. I haven't painted it yet, but I printed this a few months ago. And yeah, so those big old cusps like that. I also have a mammoth tooth that I printed to compare the two. But what do you think, Mango? Yeah. Cool stuff. Yeah. It always shocked me how huge elephant teeth are, and they're heavy. Oh yeah, Flirty Mango. Holy cow. Yeah, and yeah, that's a single tooth, Rousey. Mastodon got big. Yeah. Here, let me grab the mammoth tooth, and we can compare them real quick. Yeah. So again, I haven't painted these yet, but this is our mammoth tooth right there. A lot flatter. Mammoths were grazers. Mastodon were browsers. So yeah, these high crown teeth like this, good for breaking up kind of more leafy plants, maybe twigs and stuff like that. These guys, mammoths, would have been mostly grass eaters, grazers. It's kind of the difference between a grazer and a browser. Browsers are a little bit more choosy about what they eat. They're eating higher quality material, but not as much of it. That's browsers. Grazers, like mammoth, and modern elephants are grazers too. They've also got these kind of flat teeth like this. It's a mammoth molar, life size. Yeah, they're just shoveling massive quantities of low-quality plant matter into their mouths. Stuff like grass, you know? So yeah, yeah. Cool stuff, right? Mammoth and Mastodon... Well, shoot, I've also got, let me grab my Mammoth and Mastodon models, too. Got those Charles R. Knight printed models. Or sculptures. Let me grab those. Got mammoth, Mammuthus primigenius, woolly mammoth here. And then the American mastodon right here. So mastodon, I tried to print these relatively, you know, at the same scale. Maybe I should have printed the mammoth a little bit bigger, but mammoths were a lot taller. Mastodon, kind of more squat. Shorter legs, shorter overall. These guys are probably mostly hanging out in like forested environments and stuff like that, eating broadleaf trees, twigs, that kind of thing. These guys are more living out in open areas, eating a lot of grass. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Neat little tangent here, but it's good to have you here, Flirty Mango. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Holy moly. Oh, very cool. You wanted a dinosaur dig for 2 weeks when you're in college in Montana and Wyoming. Can I ask who you went with? Because there's a decent chance I know them. I used to do a lot of work with Museum of the Rockies, with the Badlands Dinosaur Museum, people like Jack Horner, Denver Fowler, and then recently I've been working in Utah and Wyoming. Commodore says, how often do you think there is a creature thought to be extinct or undiscovered, and nobody notices it because it's a mundane creature? Like, oh, that's just a bird, or that's just a bug. Well, shoot, that kind of happened with the coelacanth, where local people had known about that critter for centuries. And, you know, to them it's just another fish. And then an ichthyologist gets a hold of one and goes, holy cow, this is from a group of fishes that were thought to be extinct. So it happens, it's happened a few times before. Yeah. An Elevation Science Institute. Yeah, I've never heard of them, Flirty Mango. Interesting. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Anyway. It's good to have you here, Flirty Mango. Yeah, by Jason Skine? Yeah, I don't know if I know him, but I'm sure if I were to ask other people, like if I were to ask Ethan Cowgill, he'd probably know him. Yeah, Denver Fowler would probably know him. Jim Kirkland would probably know him. Cool. Anyway, it's good to have you here. Here, let's finish this video up and we can get back into our new dinosaurs of 2023 and ranking them.
As the climate's changing, flooding from heavier rainstorms and the Potomac are a growing threat.
Water seeping into basements along the mall and threatening the treasures of the nation. The Smithsonian will tell Congress tomorrow it's $1 billion behind in needed repairs.
It's already happened to the museum next door, leading to millions in damage. And the Natural History Museum is next. But Congress has been slow moving to fund improvements.
So we're going to have to start armoring the mall with larger and larger dikes.
The museum does plan to expand the off-site support center. It's farther above sea level, so researchers have started moving more specimens out there. For now, to preserve its collections on the National Mall, the museum has begun creating digital scans, starting with easier-to-handle objects like plants and flowers.
All of our flowering plants have been digitized so far. That is about 3 million plant specimens that we have run on this conveyor belt.
Today, this digital archive has over 9 million specimens, but the museum is
And by the way, I'm agog looking at this. Just everything looks so clean and tidy and neat. Like, I know the Smithsonian is underfunded, but they are probably by far the best funded natural history museum in the United States. One of the best in the entire world. So I know that they're short of funds for stuff like, you know, renovations to prevent flooding and stuff, but still, oh man, the museums that I was working at, there was a lot of stuff just held together with, you know, chewing gum and paper clips, so to speak. Real slapdash operation, because we had to make do with what we had, and we didn't have much. So yeah.
still years away from getting the entire collection.
Jepson Herbarium is also digitizing their plants. I've heard about that, Diagonal. Yeah.
Online. So why put in so much effort to store things most people will never see? Well, for research.
Oh yeah.
Think of a museum not just as a place that displays stuff, but a place that studies and understands stuff as well.
This is what I was talking about
The collections
earlier.
are essentially a living library that 12,000 visiting scientists can access. And their work has real-world benefits. In mineral sciences, scientists across the globe can ask Jeff for a piece of any of his rocks for research.
This is our reference mineral collection. So this is the part of the collection that gets used primarily for scientific research.
The department also monitors and tracks volcanic activity around the world. Pickled mammals are studied to find out which species can transmit diseases.
One of the ways we study those diseases is to find the mammal host for the virus.
Whenever a bird strikes a plane in the U.S., samples of it are sent to Carla Dove in vertebrate zoology.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And the color patterns on some of these birds is just amazing.
Yes, her last name is Dove.
Yeah, I get that all the time. My name is very appropriate. Okay.
I forget where it was, but I read that there's a disproportionate number of ichthyologists, fish scientists, with the last name Fish. Like an uncanny number of them have the last name Fish, and it's just, yeah, it's probably it's too many for it to be a coincidence. I guess it's like if your last name is Fish, you might feel a certain kinship with our fishy relatives, and might go on to study fish. Might spark a passion for that group of animals. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm just coming from the mail room
There you go,
where
Sparky
I picked up
Pugwash,
the
yeah.
Daily Mail. These packages all have specimens of bird remains or some kind of wildlife remains that were scraped off of aircraft.
Oh yeah.
And Carla gets 10,000 of these packages a year.
This is a part of the horizontal stabilizer.
10,000 a year. Holy cow. 1,000 a year would be like about 3 a day. 10,000 a year. That's like 30 every day. That's nuts.
What the bird hit and caused the damage to. And you can see all of this bird ick on here, which is what we refer to as snarge or bird tissue.
Bird strikes.
Snarge. I've never heard that term before. That's wild. I wonder if that's specific to bird strikes or if that's just like general biological gunk. I don't know. Wow. Snarge.
Cost the airline industry billions in delays and damages. Remember the 2009 crash landing in New York City?
Less than a minute into the flight, the pilot reported a double bird strike.
In that case, we got 69 bags. Because as they went through and did the investigation, they went all the way into the engine and they wanted to know how far into the engine the feathers went.
Her team then uses these mailed-in bird remains to identify the species involved in the strikes.
This one here, do you know what this might be, Carla?
It looks kind of like a black vulture.
There you go.
Soldiers and their weapons would be powerless before the onslaught of the beast.
The what? The what? Sorry, I didn't catch that. I keep talking over it. What was it? Again? The what? The who? Basil, holy cow, thank you so much for the 12 months of support. I really appreciate that. Basil, or is it Basil? I'm going to say Basil. Thank you so much. Holy cow. Do I appreciate you. Thanks for keeping me here on the air for the past 12 months. It's excellent. And Diagonal says that's military/aviation slang. Interesting. Okay. Huh. Combination of the word snot and garbage. Oh no, that's gross. Those poor birds. Sculpin. Yeah.
One of her favorite bird. No, chicken is a favorite bird.
Yeah, and I like how they're calling it a strike, like the birds purposely attacked the plane. Yeah, they should call it a plane strike. The plane hit the birds, I think, in most of these instances, not the other way around.
If she can't identify a sample right away, Carla can compare its feathers to one of the 500,000 specimens in the museum's collection.
The location of this strike was Florida. So we look at all of the possible herons in Florida, and we match it up perfectly with an American bittern.
Oh.
And...
Oh, that's really cool. Shoot. So with the littlest sample of a bird from, you know, one of these plane strikes, a plane strikes a bird, she's able to match that using this really comprehensive collections there. That is super, super cool. How neat is that? Holy moly.
Florida. So we look at all of the possible herons in Florida, and we match it up perfectly with an American bittern.
Wow.
And this piece of beak just so happens to fit perfectly with the beak of the specimen.
Wow.
Aeronautical companies use Carla's data to develop planes that can withstand bird strikes.
If you know what the species of birds are that cause these problems, you can go out onto the airfields and do habitat management to keep those birds from wanting to come in to these environments.
And based on her research, Air Force units have adjusted flight trainings,
thereby reducing the risk of bird strikes, but also, we like to say, saving birds too.
So she's saving lives. This is pretty extraordinary. You might ask, like, oh, well, I spent all this time and money and effort and everything on museum collections. Like, but she's saving lives with this. And I guess saving the lives of, you know, people like pilots and aircraft passengers too. But, you know, but birds also. Holy cow. Yeah. Wow.
But we've barely scratched the surface of the museum's countless research initiatives.
We're collecting specimens so that scientists 50 years from now or 100 years from now will have access to the same diversity we have right now.
And we may never know how important these collections may be for scientists in the future.
Museums are the memory of our culture, and they're the memory of our planet. And imagine the Smithsonian of the year 2400. It'll have specimens from this time that will be a distant memory to the people then, but it will tell the story of planet Earth.
That's pretty extraordinary, and I'll give you a link to this. But this is like we were talking about yesterday. With these fossil specimens, like our Megalosaurus jaw. Here. I actually emailed the good folks at the Oxford Museum of Natural History in England to get access to this file to print. This is the original Megalosaurus dentary, the first dinosaur ever scientifically described. The first dinosaur ever published on, way back in 1824, if I remember correctly? Or was it 1820? I think it's Buckland 1824 was Megalosaurus. Think about that. You can still go to that museum today, almost 200 years later. Holy cow! And examine this original specimen. It's kind of wild. Let's find a clip of that real quick. I think there was one in here. There we go. Take a look at this.
The ancient jawbone is now housed in Oxford University's Museum of Natural History. Back when it was discovered, large fossilized bones had already been found in other parts of the world, but no one had any idea what they were. In China, they gave rise to the myth of dragons.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually true. I think dragon myths are more or less completely unrelated to the discovery of dinosaur fossils. But,
belonged to a race of giant humans.
Well, Ellie, if there was one dinosaur specimen to rule them all,
there it is.
This is it.
That's quite a claim. So how did they go from thinking that these were giant humans to discovering that they were dinosaurs?
There's a guy, Reverend William Buckland. He was a brilliant geologist and paleontologist and very well respected. He started to study these teeth. Now, if you look closely here, you have this tooth coming through. You recognize this as a replacement tooth? You realize that reptiles continue to replace their teeth.
Here too.
And he thought, well, instantly, this must be some huge extinct reptile. This was something completely new, an extinct animal which has not been recorded in the Bible.
That's controversial for a man of the cloth, then.
This must have challenged quite a lot of ideas for him at the time, because indeed, this was something completely new.
In 1820.
So that's the point that I'm trying to make here is this is the original specimen from the 1820s. You can still see there at the museum in Oxford. This is what museums exist for. It's, shoot, it was wonderfully poetic, I think, how Kirk Johnson put it. Museums are the memory of our culture. They're the memory of our planet. They're extraordinarily important, and it's such a shame that most museums are so severely underfunded. But yeah. Anyway, Happy New Year to you too, Casey Snowhart. Welcome back. Yeah. And no wonder we spent so much time studying teeth. Yeah, well shoot, you would have spent more time studying teeth if you were in a mammal biology course. Especially fossil mammals. Happy nightmares, yeah. So anyway, Commodore says, where do you think dragon myths came from? Well, for one thing, they're not all the same as one another. Like, we say dragon myths, but most of these things have nothing to do with one another. You know, like, different cultures had all kinds of different mythical creatures that they came up with, mostly just through people's imaginations. But like in China, I think some of their, what we would call dragon myths, they would have other names for it, completely unrelated to, like, European dragon myths and stories. But there, dragons are like combinations of different animals, you know? It's got the body of the snake, the feet of a rooster, the antlers of a deer, the snout of a tiger, etc., etc., you know? Completely different from, like, the, you know, like, scaly, lizard-like dragons in some European cultures. So it's, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should do a stream about that at some point, Miss Yvette, for Year of the Dragon. Sure. Yeah. And Casey Snowart, there's actually very, very little information to suggest that. Yeah. There's a great book about this by Adrian Mayer. Lenina just pulled it up in the chat. Command links to it. The First Fossil Hunters talks about this, but, if anything, I think a lot of ancient cultures kind of came up with different mythical creatures, and then when they would find fossils, they'd be like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. It must be from this creature that we have in our mythology, you know? Even if it doesn't look like it at all whatsoever. Just if it's a large bone, somebody's gonna say like, oh yeah, it's from this large, ancient, mythical creature from our mythology, you know? The thing is, reconstructing what ancient animals looked like from their fossils is difficult work. It could be difficult for professional paleontologists, you know, in the 21st century. But for people who didn't have proper tools to dig these things up, had no concept of what these animals would have looked like, they might not even recognize them as bones or anything. You know, it might just be like weird quirks of the, you know, of the rocks. That's what, like, Europeans thought in, like, Renaissance times, is that fossils were basically just like a weird quirk of the earth, where it's like, yep, that's weird, you know? I guess my point is that unless you really know what you're doing, and unless the fossils are extraordinarily well preserved, you're not going to be able to identify them as, you know, a mammal or a reptile or, you know, a ray-finned fish or whatever. Like, unless it's really, really well preserved. Does that make sense? So, yeah. And Casey Snort, yeah! That bone house, yeah. Bone Cabin Quarry. Or, the Bone Cabin. There was a, I guess a sheep herder in Wyoming back in the 1880s. Who, can we find an illustration of this? Maybe not. I know I've got one in this book over here. There we go. There's kind of a fanciful illustration in this book here. Come on now. Ronicus. Yep. A house made of bones. Here we go. Yeah. The Bone Cabin. Right there. So there was a sheep herder living in Wyoming. Yeah. The strangest of all uses for dinosaur bones surprised some fossil hunters in Wyoming. One day they found a small building that looked rather like a log cabin. A sheep herder had built it for himself, but not from logs. There are no real big trees over there, so he used what he had to hand, and those were fossil bones. Dinosaur bones. So it probably didn't look quite like that, but it's not as fanciful as some other illustrations that I've seen. But yeah. I don't know. It takes a surprising amount of anatomical know-how to be able to reconstruct an extinct animal based on just bones. And I don't think most ancient peoples were really interested in that, let alone had the skills to do it. To be able to come up with myths and legends based on fossil material. Or like, oh, you know, pterosaur fossils must have led to the myth of the thunderbird or something. Like, I don't know, I really kind of doubt that. There's an idea that the myth of the griffin was inspired by ancient peoples finding Protoceratops fossils. And, like, it makes a nice story, and it seems compelling and everything, but... yeah. Here we go. Some paleontologists disagree, like why Protoceratops almost certainly wasn't the inspiration for the griffin legend. This is from pterosaur specialist Mark Whitten, who's also just an accomplished artist and all-around good Mesozoic paleontologist. Yeah. I'll give you a link to this, because it's interesting stuff. Does he, like, sum this up nicely at the end? Yeah. I can't see any reason to think that Protoceratops had anything to do with griffin lore, and I entirely understand the mainstream view of it as a chimeric animal cooked up by ancient cultures of the Near East. Interestingly, none of the recent papers on griffin lore and imagery I looked at in preparation for this article mention the Protoceratops griffin hypothesis, and it's surprisingly challenging to find much mention of it in any peer-reviewed literature. This despite its 23-year vintage and wide popularity among educators, media outlets, and some paleontologists. Yeah. I suspect this idea has found greater mileage among the paleontologically minded because it presents an interesting and seemingly reasonable story, but it also straddles disciplines and knowledge bases to discourage further research from people mainly interested in extinct animals. Given the lack of commentary on this idea from archaeological quarters, I'm curious to know what folks with a greater understanding of ancient cultures and history make of this idea. So yeah, I, for one, really, really like the idea that Protoceratops may have inspired griffin legends, but it doesn't seem like the evidence backs it up, you know? I really wish this were true, but it doesn't seem like it. You know? The evidence just isn't really there. Which is unfortunate, but that's kind of the point of science, you know? Science is not about what we want to be true. Science is about what does the evidence actually demonstrate? What does it show us? So yeah. Yeah. Since it says Cyclops from Elephant Skull, I mean, it's a possibility, but you know, I wonder about that, you know? Yeah. And Hogan says a lot of mythological creatures came from people just making stuff up. Yeah, probably most of them, I would say. But yeah. I think it's for plants. Yeah, Diagonal. A lot of stuff is just like second-hand, third-hand, game of telephone stuff. People talking to each other about critters that they've seen, and then it just gets... stories get more and more exaggerated. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And Commodore 256? A scientist without their ideas and an emotionally invested agenda is still a scientist, but they still have their biases? Yeah. I don't know. That's... As a scientist, that's something that you always have to be aware of. It takes introspection and self-awareness to go like, shoot, I feel myself really drawn to this idea, like, I really like it. because that's the case, because I realize that I like it, that I'm emotionally drawn to this, I need to be extra cautious about it. It's a constant battle there, you know? Yeah. Oh, we call that game Grapevine. Oh, I heard it through the grapevine. Sparky Pugwash, nice. Can I ask where you're from, Sparky Pugwash? Because those, like, regional differences are going to be interesting. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And Chris T.S. says the griffin is from a display of two symbols of power to use as an avatar to symbolize one's standard. The eagle and the lion, not based on any actual creature or remains. That actually makes a ton of sense, Chris T.S., yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the grown-up version of, Did you ever have, like, a friend as a kid where, like, you're playing pretend, and you're, like, pretending to be different fictional characters, and your friend is like, well, I'm gonna be Darth Vader, but also Superman, and a Ninja Turtle. It's like, sorry, what? People do have this need to, like, mash things together like that they identify with, and yeah, exactly that, says Chris T.S., yeah, right? Yeah, Godzilla, end of discussion. See, that's my line of thought there, Dr. Terra, but even Godzilla, honestly, is an example of that. You know, combining the symbolism and power of the atomic bomb with the kind of mystique and wonder of dinosaurs. And even within just the dinosaur aspect, Godzilla was a chimera of 3 different dinosaurs. When the producers at the Toho company in Japan had to, you know, come up with a design for Godzilla, it was Tyrannosaurus, Stegosaurus for the dorsal plates, and Iguanodon for the forelimbs. 3 different dinosaurs. Even the word Godzilla, in Japanese, Gojira, that's a combination of 2 other words, Gorira and Kujira. Gorira is gorilla, Kujira is whale, so gorilla whale, Gojira. So yeah. Anyway, Cheerful Bloke says, as a pro wrestling fan, I know too many folk like that. Yeah. Yeah. And there you go, Commodore. Yeah, that's... You write it out in Japanese. Good stuff. Hey, Lemmy Caution, how are you doing? Welcome. It's good to have you here. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how we got on this tangent. We started talking about the Smithsonian Institution and fossil collections, and somehow we got to griffins and protoceratops and Godzilla. But here we are. We've still got 22 dinosaurs to discuss. I don't know if we're going to get through these today. Yeah. Chewie says I'd always be a Dinobot from Transmorphers. Sorry, Transformers. Welcome, Chewie. And, even that. Combination of dinosaurs and transforming robots. Yeah, Transformers. Cars that trick your eyes, right? Yeah. Has the tier list countdown started? It has. Xivsa? It has. We've done 1 dinosaur so far. Oh boy. We have done Egai, the new sauropod, new titanosaur from Egypt. Yeah. And put that right here. We've got a special rubric for trying to quantify where the dinosaurs should appear on the tier list. So yeah, let's do another dinosaur now. Maybe we'll start doing these in alphabetical order. Or some semblance of that. Where were we? Yeah. Let's do Calvarius. A new Styracosternin from Spain. Spain came in second place this year for the most new dinosaur species described. Find Calvarius. That should be it right there. Let's take a look at Calvarius. This is going to be a camptosaur-like dinosaur, so like a basal iguanodontian. Maybe not the most outwardly exciting of dinosaurs. But, you know, a cool critter nonetheless. All dinosaurs are cool. Yeah, pretty similar to, like, Camptosaurus. If you're familiar with that animal. This one's not particularly big, though. It's a lot smaller than an adult Camptosaurus. But was this one mature? Well, shoot. Let's talk about it. The name means suffering. Oh, boy. Oh, no, and the genus contains a single species known from a single metatarsal. Ew. Not great, honestly. Not great. If it's known based on one bone, it's going to score very, very low on our rubric here for quality of fossil material.
Check our fossils, because if they're removed, America loses them forever.
And fungi mungi, or is it fungi mungi? Thank you for your support. Holy cow!
A versatile sort of chap. He won a lot of arguments in his time, but very few beauty contests.
I really appreciate that, fungi mungi. Thank you for keeping me here on the air with that support. I appreciate that very, very much. Yeah. I started with suffering, not good. I know, right, Chewy? Oh, boy. So, let's annotate this.
Utah raptor is the most dangerous dinosaur around.
Wow,
Executive Storm.
Here now, 41 months. I must be a paleo find.
Executive Storm, 41 months? That's almost a whole year, isn't it? Thank you so much. Hope that makes you feel younger. Thank you for keeping me online for the past 41 months. Holy cow. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff. Alright, so our critter here, this is Calvarius. Quality of fossil material, 1 out of 4. Not great. Gotta say, we are off to... Look at this graph! Look at that graph. Anosmia TV, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. What a great name. No smell-o-vision there. Anosmia TV. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Yeah, holy cow. We're off to not the best start here.
Tradoon.
And Chewy1992, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Good to have you. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what I remember about this critter. A lot of these we saw... Oh, this is in JVP? Okay, oh, and Prado Marquez. Oh, boy. Yeah. Let's take a look at the paper. We've got a single lone metatarsal here. Naming an entire genus of dinosaur based on a single bone is not great. At least it's not a single fragmentary bone. But yeah, it's described from uppermost Maastrichtian strata of northeastern Spain. Okay. That's interesting, at least. Yeah. And thank you, Tassie Jane, for the 200 bits. I appreciate that. Okay. Do we have a strat column? We do at least have a strat column here. So yeah, okay. That's not going to be too bad then on our rubric. For stratigraphic data, I am pleased to report that, you know, I think we can give that a 2 or a 3 here. There wasn't a super detailed strat column or anything, so I'm going to give it a 2. Could be better. Could definitely be worse, too. What about ontogenetic insight? Is there any discussion of this animal's ontogeny?
Ontogeny. Ontogeny.
Okay, lots of mentions there.
Ontogeny.
And thank you, Golganek, for gifting Confused Echidna. I appreciate that. Good aim there, Golganek. Enjoy, Echidna. Yeah. Alright. Despite abundant literature on ornithopod osteohistology, Bayul, that's Alita Bayul. I used to hang out with her in Bozeman. Few studies have focused on the histological characterization of metatarsals. Dinosaurs are aged on the basis of their number of legs. So they are definitely discussing ontogeny here, which is really cool. Yeah. The absence of an EFS, that's external fundamental signature, that's like a an indicator that the animal was mature. So an absence of that in the studied sample also indicates that the specimen did not reach somatic maturity. You know what? This is actually pretty good. This is actually pretty good. I gotta say, good on Prado Marquez and co-authors. Ontogenetic insights? I mean, I can't really give it a 4 because it's just a single metatarsal, but I can definitely give it a 3 right there. So this dinosaur's scoring higher than I thought it was. Yeah. Excellent. Paleobiological interest? I'm gonna give that a 2, just because we really gotta cruise through these. You know, it could be worse, but it could definitely be better, too. It's interesting that... Well, you know, it's a single metatarsal. Shoot. From Spain. I might have to give that a 1, actually. Yeah, and novelty... Probably going to give that a 1 as well. When you've got such scanty material, there's not really much you can draw from it. So yeah. So our total comes to 6, 7, 8. 8 is our total for Calvarius. Let's go ahead and put that on our tier list now. Calvarius, new dinosaur genus from Spain, based on a single metatarsal. It's going to go right there. It's really that ontogenetic discussion that raised its profile here, so there you go. Yeah. Anyway. On to our next one. And Golganek, thank you for gifting that sub to Miss Yvette. I appreciate that. Thank you, Golganek.
398 gift subs in the channel.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Why don't we talk a little bit about... Let's get to Lenina's hadrosaur here, and let's figure out if... Yeah, a basally branching hadrosaurid Malefica here. It's a reconstruction of the animal. We gotta type in Malefica dinosaur, because if you don't type in dinosaur, just do a Google image search for Malefica, you end up with Angelina Jolie, I guess? Anyway, so we type in dinosaur in order to get Malefica the dinosaur. It's funny, we are kind of running out of, like, certain numbers of... We're running out of a lot of good, like, saurus names. So we gotta get a little bit more creative, and this is a cool one. Malefica. What does that name mean, actually? The name means witch or sorceress. Very cool. That's pretty neat. Yeah. A genus of hadrosaurid dinosaur from the late Cretaceous Aguja Formation de Tejas. Lenina, could it be a new Texan dinosaur? Is what will win you the bingo for this year? Holy cow. Yeah, I don't think we actually talked about this one, did we? So, the holotype is a partial left maxilla, recovered from the Bruja Canyon. Bruja means witch in Spanish. Of Big Bend National Park. In 2002, it was assigned to the genus Critosaurus. They're just kind of throwing it in there with Critosaurus navajovius. 20 years later, it was discovered to contain a number of useful diagnostic traits that allowed it to be described as a new taxon, despite being fragmented. Stuff's falling over there. So, holy cow, this is a partial left maxillaris. So, right off the bat, for our rubric here, we are not doing super hot. Quality of fossil material, at least it's part of a skull, but a single element that's fragmentary, I still have to mark that a 1 right here. Yeah. I wonder if we've got good stratigraphic data. If it was collected a good while ago, the likelihood that we've got good strat data on it drops significantly here. But let's see if we can get access to the paper. It's in the Journal of Cretaceous Research. Never mind. Shoot. I don't know if this is... Nope. And it's another Pride of Marquez paper. That guy loves naming new hadrosaurs based on fragmentary material. Anyway, let's look at this here.
Really spectacular. Spared no expense.
And Legion 54, thank you for that gift sub.
Gifted a tier 1 sub to Bella Pijra.
I really appreciate that. I really do. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so they're saying it's not Critosaurus, and it comes out here with Eotrachodon and Yamatosaurus, both of which are, I think, pretty primitive. If this is a juvenile animal, then of course it's going to come out as primitive. Oh boy. Well. Yeah. So this is something that the authors found in the museum already, and they're like, oh, we could name this. Goodness, let's just cruise through this real quick, shall we? Stratigraphic data. I don't know if they have good strat data on it. I can't read the papers. We'll say 2. We should have had one here for if it's open access or not. That should be like an instant 5 points. This one is not open access. Ontogenetic insight. I don't know if they discuss ontogeny in it. Shoot, we should actually look. The word ontogeny doesn't show up in the Wikipedia article. Let me see if I can check some some science backdoors here. And, let's see if I can find this. If there's any chance at all. Try this. All right, cross your fingers, everybody.
Access denied.
We're not going to have access to this paper. Shoot. So we're kind of left in the dark here. At least we don't have to be super charitable. Paleobiological interest. I'm going to mark that low, honestly. 1. Novelty. Low. So we've got a total of 6 points here for this critter. Six points for Malefica. But, Lenina, I think it probably does give you a bingo if you needed a Hadrosaur. I think that'll do it. Yeah, man, these images did not come out properly, but that is... There we go. It looked like this right here, illustrated in gray. There's our tier list. And... Yep. 6 points puts us at the very bottom of this tier right here. So there we go. Not the best. So far, actually, the worst, but we've got 20 more dinosaurs to do. Holy cow. Let's get a move on. Next up on the list, let's do the only dinosaur described from Mongolia this past year. Jasulanicus. Or Jakulanicus? Jasulanicus. It's a new Alvarezsaur. And Alvarezsaurs are some of my favorite dinosaurs. This critter right here, Trirarchuncus, is that's the first dinosaur ever published that's got my name on the author. That's an awful way to say that. I was honored to have my name on the original publication for this dinosaur, which is pretty exciting. It's a little Alvarezsaur. Alvarezsaurs are dinosaurs that would have looked like this. There we go. There's Mononicus right there. Just one of the better known members of this group. So they're little dinosaurs covered with feathers. They've got these long leggy legs, extremely short forelimbs that are very stout, one big claw on each hand, their thumb claw. Some of these guys, like Mononicus, that might be the only finger that they still have, their thumb. We'll use for opening up termites' abodes to eat those proteinaceous insects inside. But yeah, pretty cool, right? Does it get bonus points for being an Alvarezsaurid? Well, let's look at our rubric. I don't see a category for that. So what we're gonna do here is, let's see if we can access the paper. I don't know if I ever actually got access to this one, but let's see. It is open access from the journal PLOS ONE, so that should give it extra points right there. Honestly. And there we go. New Alvarezsaurid from the Upper Cretaceous Barungoyat Formation of Mongolia. Provides insights for bird-like sleeping behavior and non-avian dinosaurs. Oh boy, you know it's gonna rank high there for paleobiological interests. Very, very cool. I remember this one now, yeah. Yeah, a nearly complete and articulated skeleton. So shoot, right off the bat. Quality of fossil material, 4 right there. Very nice. And paleobiological interests, either 3 or 4, we'll see. But you know what? I'm going to say 4. If we can say something interesting about theropod dinosaurs in general from it, that's going to get a 4. Novelty, I'll probably give it a 2 or a 3, but let's take a look at the paper. Here we go. Its well-preserved manus has only 2 fingers, composed by of a hypertrophy digit 1 and greatly reduced digit 2, which implies an intermediate condition between the tridactyl manus of Shuvuia and the monodactyl manus of Linhanicus. So it's got 2 fingers instead of 3 or 1. It's kind of an evolutionary in-between, which is really cool in and of itself. Notably, the preserved posture of the specimen exhibits a stereotypical avian-like sleeping position seen in the troodontids May and Sinornithoides. Do we talk about ontogeny, though? Let's see. Co-ossification between the proximal tarsals and tibia suggests the individual was at least a late ontogenetic stage close to maturity. All the distal carpals are fused with the base of metacarpal. Given the ontogenic stage of Jastellonicus, these differences in the fusion of the metacarpals among late-branching alvarezsaurids like demonstrate... Wait, so how did they... Did they do histo on this critter? They should have. No histological analysis was performed. That is not ideal. It does not get full marks for that. We could have had an overall champion here, but nope. The complete closure of the neurocentral suture in the cervical, dorsal, and caudal vertebrae, fusion of the sacral vertex, yeah. That is unfortunate. It is. And, yeah. Oh, I forgot to write its name, too. Jaculinicus, or Jaculinicus? I'm not sure. So ontogenetic insight, I'm going to give it a 2 there. Because they were at least talking about ontogeny, but they didn't perform a histological analysis. And so 2 is the best I can give them there. 2, best I can do. But let's look at stratigraphic data, and then we'll make up our mind about novelty there. By the way, I hope this is entertaining. I hope people are learning something. I hope you feel like this is worth watching right now. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, everybody? Yeah. Triceratops says, can you explain histology again? Oh, this is very important to you in particular, Triceratops. Histology is when you cut open the bones and then you look under a microscope at the rings in the bone to figure out how old the animal was when it died. It's extraordinarily important for dinosaurs because we know they changed a lot as they grew. And so if one dinosaur specimen looks different from another, you know, if they're members of the same family but they look a little different, is that because they're different species? Or is that because they're just different growth stages of the same species? Doing a histological analysis can actually answer that question for you, because you can determine whether or not the animal was mature when it died. Maybe it's just different because it's a juvenile, because it's not full grown yet. Doesn't have those adult features yet, you know? That's why histology is so important for dinosaurs especially. But yeah, man, we've got some beautiful material from this animal. And we've got a nice strat chart there. I know in Mongolia, that's not what I was looking for. Strat is sometimes really difficult to do, and it's difficult to get good dates on things. But yeah, okay. Well, we do have different zones here. Jesselonicus from Zone 4 Transitional. That is actually really cool. That's actually really cool. And we've got it, you know, we've got this actually measured out in meters here for the strat column. We're looking at how old this animal was, where it appears in the rock record. And it seems to be intermediate here. This is actually really good. This is exciting. It's going to get high marks for that.
If it disagrees with experiment,
Aziabel.
Wrong. In that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are, who made the guess, or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. That's all there is to it.
Aziabel and their 36 raiders are both beautiful and smart, and their raid agrees with experiment.
Aziabel, welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. How did your stream go? I hope it was excellent. Shoot. Looks like you were doing some just chatting. Excellent. Well, my name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch talking dinosaurs. It's wintertime, so I'm not digging dinosaurs live on stream like I was last summer.
But now, the dinosaurs rule.
And Creation Coach, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah, as a dinosaur paleontologist, I dig up dinosaurs, I study dinosaurs, I publish on dinosaurs in the scientific literature. And today, we are taking a look... I even have an image for this. Why didn't I put this on screen? That would have been cool. Here's 2024. Where did I put that? Shoot. Hang on a second. Large icons. There we are. We're taking a look at at 23 new dinosaurs which were published in the year 2023. And we're actually ranking them on a tier list right now. So we've gotten through 3 so far. We're on number 4, Jesselonicus from Mongolia. And we're ranking them according to this rubric that I came up with. So yeah, anyway, I'm glad you're here. But yeah. Would anybody like to see a quick welcome video? Because I know we've got some cool new people who came in here with Aziabel. Like you, Slam Dunk BR, and Creation Coach. Give me a 1 in the chat if you'd like to see a welcome video. To kind of explain what this channel is all about, who I am, why a paleontologist is here on Twitch in the first place, all that good stuff. Yeah. I'm not seeing any 1s in the chat, so we might skip the welcome video. Well, Slumberlust's got one, Rizadega's got one. Real Pikachu. Okay, Catatoon. Alright. Creatrix Bread. Alright. We can do a welcome video. Let's get another shout out real quick for Aziabel, and without further ado, we'll call forth a good friend of ours. We call him Previously Recorded Danny, and he is currently walking up behind me right now. So, without further ado, he's going to tell you what this channel is all about. Previously Recorded Danny, take it away.
Well, thanks, present day Danny. Well, if you happen to be new around here, then welcome to Paleontologizing. You may well be wondering to yourself, well, if this is Twitch, then where are the video games? I'm gonna level with you here. I don't really do much in the way of video games. I'm a paleontologist. My name is Danny Anduza, and dinosaurs are my area of study. But how in the world does a paleontologist end up on Twitch? Well, you're about to find out.
When I finished high school, I moved to Montana and immediately started work at Museum of the Rockies, which at the time was an unparalleled powerhouse of paleobiology. That program was built by this guy.
Famed paleontologist Alan Grant.
Well, kind of.
You consulted on that movie.
I did consult on all those movies.
And they said the guy Alan Grant was you.
Yes. Yeah, well, fortunately, he didn't get eaten.
Meet Jack Horner, the real-life Alan Grant. He's one of the most prominent and controversial paleontologists in the country, a dyslexic MacArthur Foundation genius who never finished college and who says he doesn't care why dinosaurs went extinct. To him, the important part is how they lived.
It was at Museum of the Rockies, under the auspices of Jack Horner, that I learned how to be a dinosaur paleontologist. And a huge part of that I learned by working with Jack's final graduate student, a guy by the name of Denver Fowler, who would later go on to become curator of the Badlands Dinosaur Museum. Working with Denver, I did summer after summer of fieldwork in the remote Badlands of Montana. Together, we dug up more dinosaurs than we knew what to do with, at fossil sites numbering in the hundreds. In 2012, I discovered a new species of ceratopsian dinosaur, hopefully soon to be published. The next year, we excavated the world's smallest and youngest Tyrannosaurus rex. Then, we dug up a brand new ankylosaur.
Montana's news leader.
5 paleontologists are excavating what looks to likely be a new species of armored dinosaur.
So we found its head, we found parts of its armor and plates, and so it should be a new species.
Not bad, right? Well, anyway, much like my fieldwork, my research also focuses on dinosaurs.
For example, here's Triarchunkus, the last of the Alvarezsaurs, just published in July of 2020.
One of my current projects focuses on Spinosaurids. I can't really talk too much about that until it's a little bit closer to publication, so stay tuned for that.
Anyway, let's get back to how I ended up on Twitch. A couple years ago, things in Montana were declining rapidly, so I picked up and moved on to greener pastures. I'm so glad I did.
And with that new perspective, I also realized that I have very little patience with the soul-crushing bureaucracy within academia. So for the time being anyway, I decided to take my career in a slightly different direction.
I got hired for a job in early childhood education. As a teacher, I get to have a positive impact on kids' lives and help them find a passion for science. Then, when COVID-19 showed up, the school had to close. But that didn't stop the teaching or the learning. We just moved online.
All right, friends. So we're going to be looking at a book in a little bit, but I thought we'd start off with a song. 3, 2, 1. Oh, give me a home
where the hadrosaurs roamed, where triceratops bellowed and grazed, where erosion uncovers bones we seek to discover, for to strike the whole world amazed. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. It was a pretty easy jump from teaching online to streaming on Twitch. I had my first broadcast in May, and I've been on here ever since. Now, I believe pretty strongly that any good scientist should also be a public servant. In my opinion, talking to everyday people about her science is one of the most important things that a researcher can do. I now have a golden opportunity to reach out directly to people where they are.
This is what I'm all about. And now, thanks to Twitch, I get to share it with you. And I'm so happy to be able to do so.
It's my intention to continue this mission of education by answering your questions, providing good science content, and working to grow this channel. And if you could help by following, or if you could afford it, by subscribing, I would be deeply grateful.
So anyway, to my regular viewers, thank you again for sitting through this. To everybody who's new, welcome. I'm genuinely, earnestly glad that you're here. And I hope you stick around. We've got a remarkable little community here, and I'd be delighted if you join us. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back into it. So, present day Danny, back to you.
Well, thank you very much, previously recorded Danny.
No expense.
Katatoon gifted a tier 1 sub to Dan_D_.
And thank you, Catatoon. I really appreciate that. Holy cow. Thank you for that support, Catatoon. Enjoy there. Go to, Dan D, he, him. Enjoy, Dan. And thank you again to Azia Bell for that wonderful raid. I really appreciate it. And if anybody's still here from that raiding party, thanks for sticking around. We're going to talk more about these new dinosaurs just published this past year and continue ranking them. And Fladener, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. And you followed in 2020? Holy cow, Castle Dreamer. That's when I started. Yeah. And Creation Coach says, I'm here. Cool stuff. Thanks, Creation Coach. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. We're talking about new dinosaurs published in 2023. There were 26 new species of dinosaur published this past year.
No expense.
Thank you, Catatoon, for gifting Creation
Gifted a
Coach.
tier 1 sub to Creation Coach.
Good stuff. Thank you, Catatoon. We're going over this one, Jesselonicus. And it's doing pretty well in the rankings. We still have to evaluate, what was it? We did Strat. We've got to do Paleobiological interest, and we've got to do Novelty. And shoot, what was it that I wanted to look at here? I wanted to look at how long ago it was discovered. Because Risu Degu was surprised that that ceratopsian that I discovered in 2012, it's still not published today. It takes decades sometimes for dinosaurs to finally get published, especially if they're new genera or species. Let's see when this one was actually dug up, because it was just published in 2023. Let's see, materials and methods. Covered from the upper section of the Barangoyat Formation. Campanian and the Namek locality. That's crazy that we still don't know the exact age for that. But they don't say what year it was dug up. That's kind of wild. It might have been a decade ago or more. That's often the case. There we go. Type locality and horizon, diagnosis, description. Anyway, we've got a pretty good sense for this animal. Beautiful skeleton. I mean, holy cow, look at that. Curled up just like a bird sleeping there. Beautiful. So, let's get back to our rubric and let's finish this guy out. There we are. So, stratigraphic data, I'm going to give it a 3. I mean, we at least know the horizon that it's from, even if that horizon is not dated. Paleobiological interest, I'm going to say 4, because that bird thing is real cool. And, we're going to give it a 3 in terms of its novelty. That's going to be a pretty good score, I think. That's going to be a pretty good score. And so what is that total there? 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 4 is 16. Not too shabby. 16 out of a possible 20 points. That's pretty excellent, actually. That's going to rank pretty high. That might even be top tier. Back to our tier list here. There we go. So, Jesselonicus, who is right here. 16 points. We have our first top-tier dinosaur of the year. Very nice. That's a great score, Sparky Pugwash. Absolutely. Yeah. And we already have a new dinosaur from 2024, Dr. Tara? Is it a new genus, or is it... I don't see a Genet spin-off. But this is pretty cool. Pretty cool, Dr. Tara. January 1st, 2024. Unfortunately, it's not open access. Journal of Cretaceous Research. But yeah, pretty neat. Pretty neat. Yeah. And Catatoon, what was this? On Ko-Fi there. My New Year's obulus to your work. Sorry, it's not more. No. Don't apologize. That's wonderful. Thank you, Catatoon. Thank you very, very much for your generosity. Your support of science outreach here on Twitch. It means a great deal to me. I want you to know how much I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff. And thanks for using Ko-Fi. It's really nice when people do that, because nobody takes a cut out of it, you know? With Twitch, you know, Twitch has to take a cut to keep running. Yeah. With Ko-Fi, it all goes into my pocket, and I really appreciate it. So thank you, Got it. Thank you very much. And side story today is the Quake. What Quake is that, Digital Deck? There's plenty of science stories on any given day. But yeah, let's get rid of those tabs. Let's clean this up a little bit here. And we've got 19 more dinosaurs to do for our tier list. So let's get into them. Come on now. Let's take a look at another dinosaur from Texas now, Paleontologizing. Let's just go ahead and do this one. From the Louisville Formation. We've covered this one live on stream. This is another dinosaur named based on a single bone, if I recall correctly. But at least it's a decent one. We've got the lower jaw there. The single, nearly complete left dennary. The dennary is the lower jaw bone bearing the teeth in dinosaurs. It was found 100 meters away from the holotype of the enantiornithian bird Flexomornis. That's a cool name. Yeah. The name means grapevine jaw, Paleontologizing. And so, quality of the fossil material for this guy, Paleontologizing, is not going to be particularly high here. Paleontologizing. There we go. Quality of fossil material. Anytime it's a single element like that, even if it is an element from the skull, I still gotta mark that a 1, I think. You know? Well, at least it's a cranial element. I mean, shoot, it's got teeth in it. No, we're gonna give that a 2. Because it's got the teeth. And teeth can be very informative. Not quite as informative as they are for mammals, but still. Anytime you've got teeth... Oh no, sorry, I take that back. All we've got are the tooth sockets. Well, still, that's the business end of the animal. You know what? No, I'm sorry. We gotta mark that. We gotta mark that a 1. That's gotta be a 1 right there. I know it's a jaw, and a jaw is a good bone to have. Let's make that a little bit less messy, shall we? Let's color inside the lines. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. That's a 1 there. But that's okay. You know? Even with scanty fossil material, sometimes you can do really cool work. Here is the original paper. It is open access, which honestly should give it some extra points there. And Chris Noto. He's been an author on some of the papers that I've been on too. Good stuff. Anyway, here's the actual paper, and I'll give you a link to it. There you go. No paywall there. Good stuff. So our second dinosaur from Texas today, our second ornithopod dinosaur from Texas, no one. Almost complete left dentary from the Louisville Formation represents a new small-bodied ornithopod taxon and Pelagnathus coheni. So very similar to Convolusaurus. Phylogenetic analysis, geology. That's where it's from. Kind of interesting. Almost midway between Fort Worth and Dallas. Lenina, isn't this your part of the world? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And so it is from... Oh boy, we don't know where it's from in here. That's going to lose it some points on its strat as well. Bracket and question mark is estimated stratigraphic level. Ooh boy, that's not great. That's not great. So for stratigraphic data, we can at least give it a 2, I guess? I mean... No, go away. Wrong button. We don't need a calculator for this. We just need to draw a big orange X. And at least we know the geological formation it's... No, actually stratigraphic data, that's also going to be a 1. At least we have a general idea of what formation it's from. But still, not great so far. Not great so far. Let's see if we can pick up some points in ontogenetic insight, paleobiological interest, and novelty. So, here's the paper again. Let's see. There we go. We chose to code this character as missing data for Pelagnathus in our dataset. There are other Neornithischian taxa in which the profile of the ventral margin of the dentary varies through ontogeny. They're actually picking their cladistic characters wisely here, it looks like, which is, that's a good thing. Smaller ontogenetically younger specimens exhibit ventrally curved dentary margins, whereas the margin of the dentary is greater in larger individuals. That's really good that they note this. They can't really do histo on a single jawbone, I don't think. Yeah, the ontogenetic status of this specimen is uncertain. Coding an ontogenetically variable character as unambiguously present or absent in a taxon for which we are uncertain of the nature of morphology, or the point in ontogeny which the character expresses, may introduce an element of assumption error into the data, resulting in misleading results. I'm so glad they're saying this. Good on them for that. Holy cow. Instead, it is prudent to code this character as missing data in the analysis at this time. Good for them. Good for them. Holy cow. They're gonna get positive marks for this. Good on them. Ontogenetic insight, just for saying that in the paper, you know? Not just 2, I'm gonna give them a 3 right there. Ontogeny is extraordinarily important, and I'm really glad that they're talking about it. And that they're letting that actually inform their decisions about how to code these different cladistic characters. Paleobiological interest here. I'm gonna have to give it a 2 or a 1. I think it is the first... Isn't it the first ornithischian dinosaur from this region? Or the first... something like that. I'm gonna give it a 2 there. Just temporarily till we figure this out. Well, shoot, what was the title of the paper again? The first small-bodied ornithopod dinosaur from the Louisville Formation of Texas. That is exciting in and of itself. So yeah, it stands. 2 points for Paleognathus there. Now, novelty. For novelty here, I'm probably going to give that a 2 as well. It's not super exciting in its anatomy or anything like that, but it is the first dinosaur of its group from this geological formation. That's worth a 2. At least. So let's tally it up. We've got 4, 7, 9. A total of 9 points for Paleognathus. So going back to our tier list, where does this put our critter here? It puts it fairly high over here. In fact, we're going to move it to the top of that tier there. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. And now we've got 5 done. We've only got 18 dinosaurs left. We might have to continue this tomorrow. We'll see. Trooper says, how many species went extinct without a clue? Maybe a majority of them, Trooper. The number of different things that have to go right for a creature to be fossilized in the first place, it's a lot, you know? And then to be discovered, dug up properly, brought to a museum, studied, and then published, it's chances are pretty slim. So the majority of species of animal that have ever lived on our planet Earth we'll probably never know about. But at the same time, that makes it really exciting because there's so much out there left to be discovered, you know? Yeah. Are those gaps in knowledge measurable? I don't think so. You know, at least not... You can find different ways to try and measure them, but it's always going to be one of those things where it's... There's a certain degree of guesswork in there. You can't measure those gaps in our knowledge in any absolute sense, with absolute certainty. Yeah. Anyway, step 1, die. Do you want to see that video real quick, Risa Degu? I mean, we could pull it up. What are the odds of becoming fossilized as any kind of critter? Well, they tend to be really low. And here's a video to talk about that. If any of you have ever had ambitions to become a fossil, well, shoot, this is the video for you.
Here's a step-by-step guide to becoming a fossil. Step 1, die. Once you are dead, your remains may be scavenged
take that
by
sacrifice.
other organisms. Step 2, get buried fast. If you are buried rapidly, your remains won't completely decay or be carried away by scavengers. Your best bet for rapid burial is to die near or in a river, lake, or ocean, where water can deposit sediment over you.
So,
Step 3.
all of the dinosaurs that we've looked at so far have completed all of these steps. I think so far most of these are from terrestrial sediments. In fact, all of them are. Yeah, I don't think we have any marine ones yet. When we get to Japan, we'll probably see a marine dinosaur. But yeah. So the river, lake, or ocean thing.
Your best bet for rapid burial is to die near or in a river, lake, or ocean, where water can deposit sediment over you.
So I don't think we've had... Actually, no. Jesselonicus might be windblown sediments or a dune collapse or something that may have preserved that animal. So, yeah. Jesselonicus may have not died in or near a river, lake, or ocean. That might have just been sand. That's, yeah, that preserved that critter. Anyway, yeah. Muscari says, so living fossils are impossible? Yes. By definition, they are. The term living fossil is an oxymoron. Yeah. And Little Pink Pony says, so everyone in our cemeteries will fossilize? No. Probably very, very few of them. Because cemeteries tend to be places where, they're like buried in soil. And if you get buried in soil, there will be nothing left of you in a few hundred years, probably. For the most part. Maybe a few thousand years. Just gone. Those bones will decay. They'll be eaten by bacteria and stuff. You got to be preserved in a rock if you want to become a fossil. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Here or in a river, lake, or ocean, where water can deposit sediment over you. Step 3. Soak in groundwater for a long, long time.
So this is the thing. If you had a cemetery where people are buried and it's near, I don't know, it's on a floodplain and the whole cemetery gets covered up by sediment from a river that overflows its banks, and then it gets abandoned. And then if that soil eventually turns into rock, then that would be, I guess, in a paleosol. But paleosols are often not good environments for preserving dinosaur fossils. Or the fossil... I know dinosaurs in particular, because I work on dinosaurs. But I don't know how common it is to find, like, fossil mammals or trilobites and stuff in paleosols. What am I saying? Trilobites were marine. You're not going to find them in paleosols. By the way, paleosols are ancient soils that have turned to stone. They tend to be kind of weird chemically. They're, like, different from the surrounding rock. They're often kind of like a greenish color if you're in, say, the Hell Creek Formation. Yeah, almost like a minty, toothpastey kind of a color. Yeah, as opposed to the other sediments that are grayish or brownish or sometimes kind of orangish. But yeah, the point is, if you're going to get buried in soil, that's not a great place to become a fossil. Chances are your bones will just get eaten away by bacteria and fungi and whatever else is just eating biological detritus. You want to get buried in sand or mud or silt or some sort of sediment like that if you really want to become a fossil. Yeah. How does the soil turn to stone? Well, it's got to have a lot of stuff happen to it before that can happen, Gaming Reaper. By the way, welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Shoot. Should we talk about that a little bit? About the formation of sedimentary rocks? Can I find a video on paleosols? Let's see. Let's try this here.
We're in Petrified National Forest in the area called Blue Mesa, in the Blue Badlands of the Chinle Formation.
Yeah.
And what you see here is you see an exposure of blue and gray mudstone that has a sort of a prominent horizontal layering in it. And what those layers represent are ancient surfaces. At the time when these sediments were being deposited by streams flowing through the area, for a time, the sediments were exposed under the air at the surface, and thin layers of soil had an opportunity to form on top of them. And so each one of those layers represents an ancient layer of soil that was later buried by subsequent sedimentary deposition. And geologists call these paleosols, or ancient soils.
Yep. So I guess basically the idea is that a soil has to get buried by other sediment. So like in that case, there was a river that was overflowing its banks on a floodplain. And then, because you'd have like a big flood year, and then a few years would go by, maybe a few decades, maybe a few centuries. And you've got a layer of soil that builds up. And then, after that, Another big periodic flood comes through, and that soil gets buried. And as it gets buried, it gets compressed. A lot of the microorganisms in it would probably get killed. And that soil eventually turns to rock as well. Probably partly, like, permineralized by the overlying sediment in the water and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah. And, yep, Hylocomium, Petrified Forest is an amazing place.
I do call myself an expert in dinosaur studies.
Well, after 6 months, you probably are, Draku. Thank you for that continued support. I really appreciate it. Thanks for keeping me here on the air the past 6 months. That's excellent. Yeah. Happy New Year to you too, Tea Time Cat. It's good to have you here. And Lenina says, as someone who works with color, I really appreciate the eye of a geologist. Hopefully both eyes, Lenina. What? Yeah, different colors in geology other people might laugh at them. They'll say, oh yeah, well look at these blue soils. Or like, look at these blue strata.
And exposure.
Here. Lenina makes a good point about this.
Blue Badlands of the Chinle Formation, in the area called Blue Mesa, in the Blue Badlands of the Chinle Formation.
So this is blue in a geological context. You might look at that and go, oh, that's gray. Look how blue it is to a geologist. And holy cow, Catatoon, what is this here? More Ko-Fi activity? My apology money for a lame joke I made in the chat. Catatoon, you do not have to keep doing this, nor do you have to apologize at all whatsoever. Thank you so much for your generosity and your support. I really appreciate that, Catatoon. I really, really do. Thank you so much. Good stuff. Thank you, thank you. Excellent. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. And what is this? Geology in all its colors? Let's take a look at this. From Mini Geology? Minigeology.com. Never seen this before.
How do you see the earth science community right now? Do you see it as a dynamic community in terms?
No, not right now. No. Right now, at least in the United States, it's driven.
Let's see. I don't think this is going to be about the colors of different rocks and how geologists interpret them. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to find a good video about that, honestly. No, shoot. Maybe I'll just look up Munsell color chart, geology. Check this out. This is how we identify different colors.
The Munsell Soil Color Chart is a tool that allows users to make soil color evaluations.
Soil or rock.
Color is recorded by hue, value, and chroma. At the top of the page, as well as the side tabs, has the hue.
Yeah. These are extraordinarily expensive, by the way. We had a Munsell book like this in the field when I was out with Denver Fowler in like 2012, I think. 2013. We were digging at a Leptoceratops bone bed site. That'd have been 2013 or 2014. Probably 2014. We had a Munsell color chart with us. And he was like, it was one of his most prized possessions. He's like, this thing cost like $800. This little color notebook like this. And he had gotten it from his old geology department in England, I want to say. I don't know why they're so incredibly expensive, but it was like the most expensive piece of equipment that we had with us in the field, apart from like the museum's truck, you know? It's ridiculous. But I guess they just have extremely high quality control for this. Like, these colors are tuned absolutely perfectly. You know? I do not have a rock color book, Risa Dego. I don't have one.
Along
Yeah.
the y-axis lists the value. Along the x-axis lists the chroma.
Yeah.
The left page of each color chart provides the color name for easier identification. So for this color chart, we can see that it is red 5/6 in the chroma 7.5R. This would be listed as 7.5R/5/6.
Very nice. Very nice. And then here's a longer video about this if you're interested in this kind of thing.
So let's take a look at the Munsell soil color charts, and we're going to try to assign a hue, value, and chroma.
Antone books range from half that to multiple times that. Yeah, Moosey Fate.
Now, I wanted to give you each one of these books, but they're $200 each, believe it or not, $200.
And this is the small one,
And
$200.
Pantone bought it, so now if you want one of these, it's $200.
Oof.
But we'll try to do it virtually, and I'll demonstrate how to do it with the actual book. If you were going to become a true soil scientist, you could invest in a $200 book. But if you're just going to work with plants, this is not something you need to own necessarily.
Yeah. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I do not have one of these, you know? Yeah. We also use them in the field, but it's like... Yeah. It's a nice thing to have. In fact, I should probably put one on the Amazon wish list, because why not? Holy cow. $751. See, I wasn't kidding there. Holy cow. Take a look at that. $751 for this. Nuts. There's another one for $255 here. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, holy cow. Let's add that to the Paleontologizing wish list, and let's shunt it down to the bottom so that nobody thinks that this is essential or anything. But man, would it be nice to have. Holy cow. It's not as high a priority as those cat treats, but I certainly wouldn't turn it down, you know? Yeah. Anywho. You could print your own and it would be a lot cheaper, says Sparky Boggosh. Well, but it wouldn't hold up in the field, and also the colors wouldn't be as accurate as they are in this, you know? These are absolutely tuned to... The quality control on these has got to be insane, you know? Yeah, there are used ones. That's true, SB Harkin, yeah. Yeah. I remember we tried not to let too much sunlight get on ours because Denver didn't want it to fade in the sun for even, like, you know, more than a minute. He's like, don't get direct sunlight on that if you can help it. Which, fair enough. That's a pricey piece of equipment there. Yeah, shade use only, says Lydia. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah. For sure, yeah, right, Missy Fate? Anyway, shoot, I feel like we're running out of steam here. We've got 5 dinosaurs done, 18 left. Do I really want to continue this tomorrow? Shoot, I've been streaming for almost 4 hours at this point. Let's see what else we've got on our agenda for the week on the Paleontologizing schedule. Oh, and we got to delete our December schedule and move on to January. Tuesday the 2nd, I was going to talk about sci-fi dinosaurs on National Science Fiction Day. Yeah. Shoot. Let's do a poll right here, right now, chat. Let's see what the people want. What should we do tomorrow? Should we continue? Continue the 2023 tier lists? Or move on to sci-fi dinosaurs? Let's do a 1-minute poll, starting now. Sci-fi dinosaurs like this one, Radosaurus. Thank you, Agent Whiskey Danger, for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. All right. And, it's a dead heat right now between continuing the tier list and moving on to sci-fi dinosaurs. Looks like we're getting more votes for the tier list, though. Time is halfway up. Well. Okay. 69% right now for the tier list. Nice. Nope, down to 67. Well, it looks like we will be continuing our tier list tomorrow. Excellent. Very good. Very good. Well, well, well. And I've not seen Godzilla -1 yet. I'm going to try and do that later this week, Dr. Terror. We'll see. Yeah. And Dinosaur Dave says, as a sci-fi nerd, I say keep doing the tier list. We can do sci-fi dinosaurs anytime. I know a lot of sci-fi dinosaurs from shows. I will have to quiz you on them. Oh, Dinosaur Dave, I like that idea. Huh. Well, well, well. Cool. We will continue with our tier lists on the morrow. We got through 5 dinosaurs. We've got 18 left. So, we'll continue with that. And let me change our schedule too. And thank you, imaginary friend, for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Thanks for clicking that follow button. You followed just before we wrapped up here. So let's go ahead and begin our wrap-up procedure. Put a Deinonychus there under our credits. I gotta make some more of these spinny videos like this. But that'll be a task for another time. Let's see who else is on Twitch right now, and we will perform a raid. We'll see if we can continue the science this evening. We've got science streams. We've got... Oh, Melissa in Denial is on. Let's go raid Melissa and see what she's up to. Melissa in Denial is not a paleontologist. She's something very different. An archaeologist and Egyptologist. She studies ancient Egypt. We did a crossover stream once, which was a ton of fun. We have very, very different fields. But I think you're going to like her stuff. She is doing some just chatting right now. We're going to go wish her a Happy New Year. And she's doing her own tier list. Very nice. Well, well, well. Everybody, thank you for another wonderful stream. Thank you to everybody whose names appeared in those credits there. From the moderators and the raiders to the subscribers and the gifters and the cheerers. Even those of you who didn't appear in the credits. You question askers and chatters and lurkers too. Thank you all for making this a fun stream. Thanks for keeping things engaging here, and we're going to continue with more of our 2023 dinosaur tier list tomorrow. Till then, everybody, you take care of yourselves, and let's go see what Melissa's up to. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.